Our next broadcast premiered in 1935. The program struggled in the ratings until 1940 when it became a national sensation. Within 3 years, it was the top-rated program in America. Few radio shows were more beloved, and few play as well half a century later. It was the brainchild of real-life married couple Jim and Marion Jordan and was broadcast to the nation from WMAQ Chicago. The show entertained America until March of 1956 and continued on NBC's Monitor until 1959. We invite you to join us at 79 Wistful Vista with Fibber McGee and Molly right here on HOJO Radio.
When you buy linoleum, its colors are bright and fresh. Wouldn't it be nice if you could always keep them that way? Well, you can very easily, simply by buying a can of Johnson's Self-Polishing Glow Coat. Glow Coat will not only keep the colors bright and new-looking, but it will also make the linoleum last years longer than floor covering that is continually scrubbed with soap and water. Too much scrubbing softens and cracks the surface. Glow Coat protects the surface. And besides this protection, Glow Coat is a wonderful labor saver. In the first place, it requires no rubbing or buffing. It's self-polishing. Just apply and let dry, and in 20 minutes you have a sparkling, beautiful floor. In the second place, it's easy to keep a glow-coated floor spotless. Spots and stains wipe up quickly with a damp cloth. You can use Glow Coat on your other floors, too, painted and varnished wood, rubber, and asphalt tile. You'll find it everywhere, that attractive red and yellow can of Johnson's Self-Polishing Glow Coat. What is so rare as a day in spring in Wistful Vista, with Mrs. McGee sitting reading on the porch, her husband picking weeds out of the lawn, and his on-and-off pal Gildersleeve fixing window screens next door? We can't think of anything. But that's how it is today with Fibber McGee and Molly.
Hey, Molly, I got a notion to go fishing. I just found a worm.
Well, keep scratching around, dear. Maybe you'll find a horseshoe and we can go horseback riding.
Hey, how many dandelion greens you got to have to make dandelion wine?
The way you're working, McGee, you won't have enough by September to get a cucaracha cockeyed.
You pipe down, Gildersleeve. I was talking to my wife.
Well, I thought I'd take over your conversation for a while. You must get pretty tired of it.
Say, aren't you men going to play tennis this afternoon? Or is it too strenuous for you athletes?
Oh, Gildersleeve says he had to fix the window screens. I don't know why. I've seen all his clothes, and if I was a moth, I wouldn't want them.
You tell her the real reason, McGee. You got smart and started bouncing the ball that landed on the roof.
Well, get it down again. Heavenly days, I'll even buy you a new one.
Huh? You will?
Yes, I will. Anything to keep you two quiet. I'm trying to read this article about us in Liberty Magazine.
Oh, you mean in the May 27th issue? Well, I can take a hint even if Gildersleeve can't. Hey, Gildy, come down off of that ladder a minute. I want to get my tennis ball off the roof.
Who are you giving orders to, you little cigar holder? Get a ladder of your own.
Well, of all the nerve. Get a ladder of your own, he says. That's my ladder you're on, and you know it, Gildersleeve. You borrowed it 3 weeks ago.
You mean I managed to get it back 3 weeks ago?
Why, you big salami. You know very well you just took it to fix that smoking chimney last April.
Yes, and you borrowed it in January to get your alarm clock out of the elm trees.
My heavens, what was our clock doing in the trees?
I threw it at a cat one night. Now, look, Gildersleeve, I was the original owner of that ladder, as you very darn well know. And I've been pretty good-natured about you using it. Now, get off. I want it back.
You got as much chance of getting it back as I have of bailing out over Scotland. And get away from this ladder. You make me nervous.
McGee, don't shake that ladder. You'll make him fall.
Oh, so what? Might jar a little sense into him. You going to get down off of that ladder, Gildersleeve, or do I have to shake you off like a rotten apple?
I won't get down. By George, this is my ladder, and I have a right. Stop it! Stop it! Mrs. McGee, make him stop teasing me.
Oh, quit running to Mama, you big squealer. And I'll give you till I count 10 to get off of that ladder.
Go on, you can't count up to 10. You stop shaking that ladder. Stop it.
McGee, be careful. He might fall on you and hurt you.
I can dodge him. That big blimp is so slow he can't even fall fast. Well, you coming down, Gildersleeve?
No, I'm not. And when I lay hands on you, you miserable little monkey...
Okay, you asked for it.
What? Stop it! Stop it! No!
Uh-oh, I pushed a little too hard.
Oh.
Heavenly days. Is he hurt, McGee?
Of course he ain't hurt. He bounced 8 feet. The big bladder.
Oh.
Well, I'm ashamed of you, both. Now, you come right in the house before you have any more trouble.
Oh, Molly, I don't want to go in the house.
Wait till I get hold of you,
What you want me to go in the house for, Molly? You want to talk something over? Okay, let's go.
Oh, wait a minute, McGee. I've got something I want to talk to you.
What you want to talk about, Molly?
McGee, I'm ashamed of you. Fighting and arguing in front of all the neighbors.
Oh, they love it.
But you had no right to push that ladder over with Mr. Gildersleeve on it.
Why, shucks, it's no fun pushing over an empty ladder. Besides, I didn't mean to push it so hard.
But you were wrong in the first place. It is his ladder.
Why, Molly? How can you stand there with your neck sticking through that string of seashells I bought you one Christmas long before we were married and say such a thing like that? It is true, my ladder.
Oh, no, it isn't.
Dad ratted, it is too. I distinctly remember tearing the wrappings off of it the day it come from the hardware store. Don't you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Aha.
Because you borrowed it from Mr. Gildersleeve before it was even off the trucks.
What? I did? Oh, sure.
And furthermore, even though you've always claimed Mr. Gildersleeve was a pushover, you didn't have to prove it.
Well, gee whiz, I didn't mean to push it so hard.
Nevertheless, I want you to march right outside and offer your apologies.
Oh, okay. Come on. Hey, Gildersleeve, I want to talk to you a minute.
Oh, that's fine, little chum. That's fine. I want to talk to you, too.
That's swell. About that little ladder episode, Crocky, I had...
Look out, McGee. He's got a baseball bat behind his back.
Come on back here, you little assassin, and I'll wham a little of the whimsy out of your skippy little skull.
Now, just a minute, Mr. Gildersleeve. All McGee wanted was to tell you to...
Tell him, Molly. It's all off.
Yep.
If you want me so bad, Gildersleeve, come on up here and get me.
All right, by George, I will.
One step further, and I sue you for trespass.
You come on down here on city property and see what happens. You feeble little fugitive from a split gun.
Why, you overinflated blimp. If I ever came down there, I'd slap you so flat you could go to the hospital by mail.
Look, McGee, you'll never get together with him this way.
Well, what'll I do?
Go inside and call him up.
You think you'll let me talk?
Well, it's worth trying. Come on in.
Okay.
Oh, running away.
Oh, go smoke some corn silk, you adolescent apple knocker. Come on.
By George, if he ever came within reach of me,
Give me the telephone.
Here, I'll watch out the window and see if his wife calls him in.
Okay. Hello, operator. Give me the residence of Throckmorton T. Good. Huh? Oh, is that you, Mert?
Dear, oh dear.
How's every little thing, Mert? It is, eh? What's that, Mert? Your baby sister. Oh, got 2 new teeth this morning, huh?
Ah, how sweet. How old is the little tyke, dearie?
19. Had some teeth kicked out Saturday night in a jitterbug contest. What's that, Mert? Oh, okay. Thanks, Mert. No answer, Mom.
Well, you've simply got to apologize. Send him a telegram.
Say, now you're using Go-Coat. That's a great idea. I'll fix it to... Oh, no, that ain't a good idea either.
Well, why isn't it?
Well, he'd just fly into another rage when he saw the telegram was collect. If there was only some way I could make him listen to me without knowing what... Hot dog. I got it.
You have?
Yeah. Now get this, folks. It's the crux of the whole program.
Oh, what is it?
Look, let's say I go down to the Wistful Vista recording studios and make a phonograph record of a handsome apology and send it to Gildersleeve. He'd play it out of curiosity, and it'd be over before he knew what it was all about.
Say, that's a wonderful idea. Get your hat and we'll...
Oh, is that Gildersleeve?
Let me peep. No, it isn't. It's Mrs. Uppington.
Oh, swell. Oh, watch me insult her, too, so I can make an extra record.
Now, McGee, please don't do that. We've got trouble enough.
Oh, it's all in fun, Molly. Come in.
Don't do it, McGee. She's too dumb to realize what... Oh, how do you do, Mrs. Uppington?
How do you do, Mr. McGee? And Mr. McGee. My goodness, what is wrong with Mr. Gildersleeve? I just met him outside.
Well, he's angry with my husband, Abigail. McGee knocked him off a ladder.
Good heavens. What on earth caused you to do that, Mr. McGee?
Oh, just the impulse, Uppy. I get 'em now and then. For instance, I never see you riding along in that limousine of yours, sitting there simpering like a dummy in a showcase without wanting to heave a rock right through the window.
Here, McGee, I told you...
Well, Miss McGee, I find your sense of humor in very bad taste, if I may say so.
You may say so, Abigail.
Thank you, my dear. Mr. McGee, your sense of humor is in very bad taste.
Ah, don't be a guppy, Uppy. You couldn't take a joke if it was tattooed.
McGee! You stop at this minute. He's just trying to insult you, Abigail. Don't pay any attention to him.
But I don't understand, Mrs. McGee. Why should he wish to insult me?
Well, he wants to make another record.
What, another one?
What do you mean, another one?
Why, you already hold the record for being the most boorish, insignificant, maladjusted little malamute in the neighborhood, if I may say so.
You may.
I do.
You did.
I know. Goodbye.
Well, you asked for it, dearie.
Yes, I know. The old moose toss is a pretty sassy adjective, don't you? Hey, is Gildersleeve still out in front any place?
Let me take a look. No, I don't see... Wait a minute.
Huh?
What's that sticking out from behind that tree?
Let me see. That's Gildersleeve's stomach. He thinks he's hiding. Like trying to hide a horse in a handbag. Well, let him wait. Come on, we'll sneak out the back way and go out the back door and hurry down the...
Welcome to the Wistful Vista Recording Studios, my friends. Is this your first visit?
Yes, it is, Mr.
Tate. Asa M. Tate. And if I do say so myself, an Asa Tate record is the best record made.
Well, look, Bud, my name is Fibber McGee.
Not the Fibber McGee.
What do you mean, the Fibber McGee?
The Fibber McGee who came in just now to make a recording.
Yes, that's me, Toot.
Tate.
Tate?
Yes. As in Tate Funny McGee.
Oh.
Now, what can we do for you?
Well, you see, Mr. Tate, McGee insulted a man next door. And we want to send him a recording of an apology.
I see. A splendid idea. We can handle that just as soon as we have a free studio.
Oh, are you pretty busy here?
Oh, thriving, Mrs. McGee, thriving. This idea has taken hold like a lady wrestler on a masher. Everyone is recording. Valentines, love messages, speeches, legal documents.
What you mean, legal documents?
Oh, yes. The human voice is accepted in court just like a signature.
Is that so?
Yes. For instance, there's a gentleman in Studio C who is making a recording of his last will and testament. Step this way and we'll peep in for a moment. Now, be very quiet.
And to the rest of my heirs and assigns, I bequeath the residue of my estate, including house and furniture and all things appertaining thereto, with the proviso that during their lives they shall protect all wood and enamel surfaces against dampness, dirt, and wear with Johnson's wax, the finest protective polish that...
Wilcox!
Oh, dear me. You broke right into the middle of the recording.
Oh, shucks, I'm sorry.
Hello there, folks.
Oh, why the record, Mr. Wilcox?
Well, it's logical, Molly. This is my will I'm recording.
Yeah, we know, but why?
Look, you put wax on your most important things, don't you?
Yes.
So why shouldn't you put your most important things on wax?
There's another familiarity, too, Howard.
What's that?
You ought to have it on a record because you've been going round and round on the same subject for 6 years.
I hope you'll excuse the interruption, Mr. Wilcox. I didn't know these were friends of yours.
Well, I'm not so sure now.
Oh, now, Mr. Wilcox, you know very well that we...
And be it hereby expressly devised that in the course of protecting and beautifying said household appurtenances, Johnson's wax is positively the most dependable, durable, labor-saving protection for wood, leather, and enamel surfaces...
Come on, Molly.
...that ever...
Isn't Mr. Wilcox very young to be making out his will, dearie?
Oh, not necessarily. He knows he's going to kill himself one of these days trying to think up new ways to say the same old thing. Oh, here we throw him in there anyway. Look, Bud, how soon can I make my recording?
Now, don't be impatient, Mr. McGee. We're very, very busy, you know. Let me think now.
Well, hello there, Johnny. Hello, Dirt.
Oh, hello there, Mr. Oldtimer. What are you doing here?
Well, do you two know this gentleman, too?
Oh, sure. He's our oldest friend. Aren't you, old-timer? If you can think of one that's older, bring him around, Johnny, and I'll wrestle him for 50 cents.
What did you say you were doing here?
Who, me? Oh, we just finished recording some hot jive, Dor. Me and my band. Your band? You got a band? Yep. Small combo, Johnny. Hot and sweet. Call him the old-timer and he's sexagenarian. Ain't a one of us under 16, we make Goodman and them Dorsey kids sound like hand organs in a hailstorm.
Well, heavenly days, imagine that. Are you making anything out of it, or do you work like George Bernard Shaw for your room and beard?
That's pretty good, daughter. But that ain't the way I heard it. The way I... Uh-oh. Say, you gotta excuse me, kids. Gotta run down the hall and get some refills. Refills? For what? My comb. That's what I play in the band. Comb and tissue paper. Well, see you later, kids. I'll send you one of my records. Well, this isn't getting us any place, Bud. I want to get busy. Haven't you got a studio we can use?
Of course. You can use Studio E just as soon as the King's men get through recording their version of Open Your Heart and Say Ah. Right in here, please.
Where's it gonna get you with love playing hard to get? Where's it going to get you with me? Where's it going to get you with anyone? You'll be sorry. You'll never get no place to shaking your head. Nowhere, no sir, so instead, here's a formula for shaking the lead. Open your heart and say, ah, you gotta be sweet if you wanna be wise. Sugar, honey, catches flies. Here's a treatment that'll open your eyes. Open your heart and say, ah. If I pet you when the lights are low, what's it gonna get you if you answer no? What are you gonna use for memories if If you're not open-minded, what do you know? You're gonna get kisses, you're gonna get love, more than your share, baby, of what you're hoping if you'll open your heart. Open wide, so I can hear it say, You'll only get cheese if you act like a rat. Won't get diamonds, not like that. If I'm the doctor when I call at your flat, open your heart and say, ah. If I take you strolling by the bay, I may have to make you see the light of day. Gotta get what I get from you gladly. So get your heart to beating. What do you say? You're gonna get kisses, you're gonna get love, more than you've been dreaming of. So now you better start to open your heart. Open wide, so I can hear it saying, ah, ah. Mind the doctor, open up your heart and say, ah.
Booth is waving at you again.
Oh. How am I doing, Mr. Tate?
Very, very good, Mr. McGee. The first part reported very well, but for this next part, get into the microphone a little more.
Oh.
Yes, that's it. And it will help if you take the cigar out of your mouth. Thank you.
It's about time you ditched that stogie, McGee. I didn't know whether you were recording an apology or smoke gets in your eyes.
Well, you ready to cut the rest of it, Bud?
All ready, Mr. McGee. Start talking when the bell rings. Ready?
Ready. And that's why I want you to know, guilty old man, that I am sorry I pushed you off of the ladder. I hope we can be friends again from now on, and in honor of the occasion, here is a little poem I wrote. The world would be a better place to live in if guys like I would admit they're wrong and give in without their wife forcing them almost to do it. But I know if I hadn't did it, I would rue it. So here's to you, a friend true blue, from your little chum next door, dear Throcky. To have you as a pal, I consider myself pretty lucky. There. How was it, Molly?
Fine, dearie. All but that poem.
Well, maybe it could have been polished up a little bit, but it's the sentiment that counts.
Sediment.
I said sentiment.
I know, and I said sediment.
Oh.
That's what's left after the drip has stopped.
Well, I'm afraid you just don't appreciate the finer things.
Everything is splendid, Mr. McGee, splendid.
Oh, fine.
And I hope you can use our services again sometime.
Thank you, Mr. Tate.
Now, you got the address where to send that record, didn't you, Bud?
Oh, yes, Mr. McGee. Mr. Throckmorton P. Gildersleeve, 83, Wistful Vista.
Yes, and send this note with it.
It'll be on its way in half an hour. A good day.
Good day, Mr. Tate.
So long, Tate.
Well, frankly now, McGee, don't you feel better for having made that apology? Even if Mr. Gildersleeve hasn't seen it yet.
Oh, yes, I guess I do, but...
Hello, Mr. McGee. Hello, Mrs. McGee.
Oh, hi, Wimple.
My, you're looking happy and cheerful for a change, Mr. Wimple.
Oh, I am. I'm just a different person when I come down here to make my record. It cheers me up no end.
What kind of record you make, Wimple? You a singer?
Oh, no. I just talk.
Oh, recitation, huh?
In a way, yes. You see, I record the things I would like to say to my wife. I spend the first half hour working myself into a rage. And then I make a recording of giving her the most terrible bawling out. And I sit here and play it to myself over and over and over.
It sure gets it out of your system, doesn't it, Wimple? Ever think what would happen if she ever got hold of one of those records?
Oh, yes, I have. I wake up nights in a cold sweat about it. But it's worth all the risk, Mr. McGee.
Look, Mr. Wimple, why don't you brace up and really send her one of the records? It would show her that you really have a little spirit.
Mrs. McGee would not only show her that I have one, but 5 minutes after she heard it, I'd be one.
Now, come on, Molly. Let's hurry home and wait for Gildersleeve's reaction.
All right.
Hey, he ought to be coming over any minute now, Molly. I just seen a motorcycle messenger deliver a package.
Oh, that's fine, dearie. I'll be so glad when this is straightened out, all this senseless bickering and quarreling. Anybody'd think you hated each other.
We do, down underneath. But on the surface, there never was two finer friends. Why, when I think, folks...
Heavenly days, what on earth is that? Oh!
There you are, you little Weisenheimer.
What?
You practical joker, you custard pie comedian.
Huh?
Send me a smart aleck phonograph record and a sarcastic note, will you? By George.
Now, wait a minute. What's the matter? What do you mean a sarcastic note?
Well, listen to this.
Huh?
Dear Throcky, forget what happened this afternoon and play this record.
Yes?
As a little token of my esteem.
Oh.
Then you'll know what I really think of you. Signed, your little chum Fibber.
Well, I don't see anything wrong with that. Didn't you play the record, Mr. Gildersleeve?
Yes, I did.
Well?
And I want to tell you right now, McGee, if you were worth spoiling a good 10-cent shine on, I'd knock you down and kick your ears off.
Oh, my.
As it is, I'll just break this record over your dilly little dough.
Oh, Mr.
Hey, what's the idea?
Oh.
And never speak to me again, you crumb-wit.
Well, I'll be... what's the matter with that guy? Ain't he got any sense of justice?
Oh, dear.
I put my whole heart and soul into that record.
Sure you did. Maybe it was that poem that got him. Though I don't quite... Oh, heavenly days. Look at the label.
Huh?
They sent him the wrong record.
What?
This is the one that the old-timer was sending to us.
Huh?
Well, no wonder Mr. Gildersleeve got mad.
What do you mean?
Look at the title. I'll be glad when you're dead, you rascal, you.
Fibber and Molly will be back in just a moment. Say, aren't these just about the busiest days you could imagine? There's so many things to do every hour of the day, it almost seems like the days are getting shorter instead of longer. Of course, that makes us all grateful for anything that saves us time and work. That is, unnecessary work. Which brings me, naturally, to Johnson's self-polishing glow coats, the modern floor polish that goes on saving hours of work every day for women everywhere. The main point about Glow Coat is that it not only saves work, it makes floors more beautiful, protects them against wear, keeps the colors of linoleum fresh and bright indefinitely. In fact, makes your whole kitchen a more cheerful place to work in. It's because Glow Coat has so many advantages at such small cost that its popularity just goes on increasing month after month. Glow Coat needs no rubbing or buffing, remember that. You just apply and let dry. In 20 minutes, you have a floor that sparkles with beauty. Need I say more? Order Johnson's self-polishing Glow Coat tomorrow.
Well, it's really too bad the records got mixed up, dearie.
Yeah.
But you can have the man at the recording studio send Mr. Gildersleeve an explanation.
Yeah, I can straighten that out, okay. I'd even kind of like to go down and make some more records.
All right, let's. You have a dandy voice for it.
Honest? You think so?
I certainly do. You might even get a job as a news commentator.
Oh, boy.
Like Raymond Graham Jazz.
Swing.
Well, you could try that, too, but commentating is more dignified.
Good night.
Good night, all.
This is Harlow Wilcox, speaking for the makers of Johnson's Wax Finishes for the home and for industry. Inviting you to be with us again next Tuesday night. Good night.
You're listening to HOJO Radio. More classic old-time radio coming your way next.
Mickey and Molly, written by Don Quinn, with songs by the King's Band and music by Billy Mills Orchestra. The show opens with New Sun in the Sky. There's one thing car owners are learning now, many of them for the first time. You can't just put your car away and forget about it. Like any piece of good machinery, you've got to keep it up to keep its value up. That goes for the battery, for the tires, and it goes for the finish, too. Smashed bugs and road scum will damage the finish of your car if they're not removed. Even dirt accumulation and temperature changes in a garage or parking space will cause damage. So even if you're not driving your car very much these days, you'll still lengthen the life of the finish and keep it new looking. You clean and polish it with Johnson's Car New. I can tell you that's an easy job. Because Carnew both cleans and polishes in one application. 2 jobs at once in quick time. Carnew is a liquid. You apply it, let it dry, wipe it off. It does an amazing job of bringing back your car's original showroom shine. Then if you want to give the finish added protection, every man has his favorite dish. With the master, he thinks, of 79 Wistful Vista, it's pot roast. And here in the living room, inhaling the luscious aroma wafting in from the kitchen, we find a man with an appetite and a woman with a genius for doing something about it, Fibber McGee and Molly.
Baby, does that smell good? How long before we eat, Molly?
Now, don't get impatient, dearie. It won't be long now.
Yeah, but I'm starved. I'm so hungry I could eat a horse and chase the jockey.
For goodness sakes, McGee, you had ham and eggs and 2 pieces of pie for lunch.
Well, I've been working.
At what?
Oh, different stuff. It took me 3 hours to fix that automatic pencil of mine.
Well, no wonder you're famished, dearie. My goodness, fixing a pencil all afternoon.
My poor little fingers to the bone.
Now, look, do you think at your age you should exert yourself like that?
Oh, quit kidding.
But just relax, dear. The pot roast is almost done. 17 minutes more.
17?
I cook by the clock, McGee. I believe in perfection in my cooking.
I'll see you do. You cook the best pot roast I ever looped a lip over. Did you ever hear any vicious gossip to the effect that I married you for your pot roast? It ain't vicious gossip. It's the ugly truth.
Well, thank you, dearie. Say, did you get that new crystal for your watch today?
Oh, I forgot. I might walk down to Gilly's jewelry store right after dinner and get it.
Are they open?
I'll find out. Give me the phone. Thanks. Hello, operator. Give me Gilly's jewelry store on 14th, just opposite the Mert. Is that you? How's every little thing, Mert? It is, huh? Hey, we're having pot roast for dinner tonight, Mert. Yeah, what are you having? Huh? Oh. Well, watch out for the bones.
What are they having for dinner, McGee?
Her little sister's algebra teacher. What say, Mert? Yeah, it took a while. Okay, I'll let it go. Well, let's eat, Molly.
All right, McGee. I'll take up the pot roast while you wash your hands.
Oh, my hands are clean.
Go wash your hands.
But, Molly, my hands are as clean.
McGee!
Okay. How's my shirt?
Good enough. Besides, you haven't got time to change now.
Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Pot roast. If there's anything I like better than pot roast, it's a second helping of pot roast. I remember one time I was president of the PTA.
The what?
Oh, maybe I never told you. I worked in a pet shop once, and we had a lot of parrots that wouldn't talk. So me and 3 or 4 other fellas started a business to teach parrots how to talk.
What'd you call it?
The Parrot Teachers Association. Oh, my gosh. Who's that?
I don't know, but I hope they don't stay long.
Well, if they do, they're going to have to talk to me over a bowl of hot gravy.
Well, now listen, don't ask them to eat with us. I only made enough pot roast for 2.
Okay.
Come in.
Good day, Mrs. McGee. Hello, McGee.
Hello, Mr. Mayor. Won't you come in and sit down?
Oh, maybe he hasn't got time to sit down, Molly. Must be about his dinner time.
Oh, I'm in no hurry, McGee. Am I interrupting your dinner by any chance?
If you are, I hope it is by chance. Because we only got barely enough for...
McGee.
Enough for McGee. What's on your mind, Latricia? I can spare you a minute.
Oh, nothing in particular, McGee. I just wanted your opinion on the new big bulletin board on the City Hall steps.
What's that, Mr. Mayor?
Well, it's a huge poster affair, Mrs. McGee, on which we post air raid information, rationing information, directions about enlistments, and that sort of thing.
Well, I think it's great. Well, it's nice to drop in, Latricia. I'll be seeing you.
Now, listen, McGee. Don't be rude. Maybe the mayor wasn't through talking.
Oh, sure he was.
No, I wasn't.
Oh.
I value the personal opinions of the citizens of Wistful Vista.
You wouldn't value mine right now.
Must be a great help to a mayor to take sort of an informal poll of people's ideas, Mr. Mayor.
It is indeed. I like to proceed cautiously with these things. I go by the old aphorism, a stitch in time saves 9.
9 what?
9 anything.
Now, listen, if you tore something, Mr. Mayor, I'll get needle and thread and fix it for you.
No, it's just an old expression, a stitch in time saves time.
Well, that's pretty silly. How can you take a stitch in time? They making clocks out of cotton now, so you can...
I was merely quoting an old saw, McGee, to the effect.
Oh, if you tore something on a saw, Mr. Mayor, it must be pretty bad. Turn around and let me see.
I didn't tear anything, Mrs. McGee.
Then what you come busting in here for, yelling for a needle and thread? If you ain't the first false alarm, Latrivia...
I didn't start yelling for a needle and thread, Mrs. McGee.
I never yelled. It isn't ladylike, and besides...
I didn't say you did yell, Mrs. McGee. I merely said...
Stop arguing with my wife.
Look here, McGee, My, something smells good. What is it?
Any days, my pot roast. Excuse me a minute, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, certainly.
Funny thing about the missus. The minute she gets dinner ready, she wants to sit right down and eat. And she loves pot roast.
Oh, I don't blame her. So do I.
Yeah. Well, I can take it or leave it myself. Well, it's nice you dropped in, Latrivia. You got my okay on that bulletin board. What'd you do with your hat?
I didn't wear a hat, McGee.
Oh.
I like to walk in the open air bareheaded. It gives me an appetite.
Does, eh?
Certainly does.
Yeah, bet it does at that.
Yes, indeed, really does.
Wouldn't be a bit surprised.
Yes, sir. Gives me a great appetite. You know how it is. A bachelor like me eating out all the time. Have to work up an appetite.
Well, that's the best way to do it. All right. Brisk walk in the open air. Particularly at about this time of day. Well, I'm sorry you're in such a hurry, Latrivia, because...
McGee, why don't you ask the mayor to sit down? My goodness, anybody think you were rushing him out?
Anybody but him would.
Thank you, Mrs. McGee. I will sit down for just a moment.
Oh.
What's the matter, dearie?
Oh, nothing. Well, what do you know, Latrivia?
Oh, nothing new, McGee. Say, I hope you're not having guests for dinner. I wouldn't want to intrude, you know.
No, Mr. Mayor. There's just McGee and me. And we usually eat in the kitchen when we're alone.
Oh, that's wonderful, Mrs. McGee. That's the way I like it. When I drop in on people unexpectedly and they suggest we have a pick-up meal in the kitchen, I'm just delighted.
Oh, I don't know. It's pretty uncomfortable. Water's always dripping in the sink or percolator bubbles so you can't hear yourself think something. I like to put on a little dog when I eat.
Oh, now, McGee, what are you doing?
Just tightening my belt a little is all.
Oh, losing weight, McGee?
I think I have, recently. Last few hours or so. Well, don't rush away, Latrivia. Just because we were going to grab a bite to eat don't mean...
Not a bit, McGee, not a bit. No, you go right ahead with what you're doing. Forget I'm here.
Now, we wouldn't think of it. Have you seen tonight's paper, Mr. Mayor?
No, and I always do the crossword puzzle, too. Yeah, here it is. Have you got a pencil, McGee?
Yeah, here. And be careful with it. I spent all afternoon. Take it with you, Latrivia. Take the paper, too.
Excuse me a minute, Mr. Mayor. McGee, may I speak to you a minute?
Huh? Sure. Excuse me, Latrivia.
Go on. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah?
What's an 8-letter word meaning a popular dinner dish?
Let me see. 8 letters. What does it begin with?
P-O space,
I know, pot roast.
That's it.
Oh.
Well, Mr. Mayor, nearly finished with the puzzle?
No, I've got quite a long way to go yet.
But ain't you getting kind of hungry, Latrivia?
Oh, I don't know. Are you?
Not a bit. How about you, McGee?
Me? Shucks, I had ham and eggs and 2 pieces of pie for lunch. Why should I be hungry? I can go for hours yet.
Yes, so can I.
Well, here we are, aren't we?
Sure are.
What's a 9-letter word meaning appetizing?
Vertical or horizontal?
Well, what difference does it make?
Well, it might make a lot. Asparagus is horizontal, and artichokes are vertical, and they're both delicious.
Thank you very much. Now, let me see. 32, 34.
Oh, now, come in.
Oh, hello there, Mr. Oldtimer.
Hi there, Garner. Hello, Johnny.
You know Mayor Latrivia, old-timer.
Don't care if I do. Pleased to meet you, Sonny. Stranger in town?
Not exactly.
He's the mayor, Mr. Oldtimer.
Is that so? About time we had a new mayor. Got an awful stuffed vest in the city hall now. Name's Latrivia.
I am Latrivia.
Any relation?
Look, old-timer, this is that Latrivia. He's our mayor.
Congratulations, Sonny. Get in there and pitch. Can't do any worse than that Latrivia.
Please, Mr. Oldtimer, this gentleman is Mr. Latrivia.
Can't be, daughter. Latrivia ain't a gentleman. Hey, Sonny, you look like a fella I went to school with.
You don't say. I was Princeton 27, and you?
Lockheed 42. Welding school. Where are you working?
We just told you he's the mayor.
Glad to hear it. Whatever become of Latrivia?
Nothing. I'm still here.
Don't change the subject, young fella. I was talking about Latrivia.
But he is Mr. Latrivia.
Same name as the mayor.
Doggone it, he is the mayor.
Is that so? Small world, ain't it? Hey, kid, sign this petition for me, will you?
Certainly. Let me take that pencil, Mr. Mayor. And thank you.
Right at the bottom there, daughter. That's it. You too, Johnny.
Okay.
Right below. Oh, and you, Sonny, what was the name?
Latrivia.
Name's familiar. We met before someplace?
You just met him here 2 minutes ago.
I did? Time sure drags, don't it? Hey, kid, sign this petition for me, will you?
Certainly. Let me take that pencil, Mr. Mayor. And thank you.
Right at the bottom there, daughter. That's it. You too, Johnny.
Okay.
Right below. Oh, and you, Sonny, what was the name?
Latrivia.
Name's familiar. We met before someplace?
Just met him here 2 minutes ago.
I did? Time sure drags, don't it?
You don't know the half of it. It's been so long since I ate, I think all my swallows have gone back to Capistrano.
That's pretty good, Johnny. That ain't the way I heard it. Way I heard it. Hey, you signed this petition, Sonny?
Yes, I did.
Much obliged. Way I heard it. One feller says to t'other feller, see. They say it's going to be kind of hard to get gas after July 15th. That's great, says t'other feller. My radishes ought to be up by then. Much obliged, kid. I'll see you later.
Goodbye, Mr. Oldtimer.
Just a minute, sir. That petition we just signed, I didn't read it very carefully.
Oh, we're going to impeach the mayor, Johnny. A fellow named Latrivia.
But I am Mayor Latrivia.
Well, now, don't worry about it. Common name. Met 3 fellas named Latrivia in the last 5 minutes. Well, so long, kid. Glad I've met you, Mr.
Latrivia.
Criminy, another one?
I've held some silly conversations in my day, but that one wins the petty point in or two.
Don't you think you better trot down to City Hall and do something about that petition, Latrivia?
Certainly not. I'm a great deal more worried about you two good people. I'm afraid I'm keeping you from your dinner.
What on earth gave you that idea?
Yeah, just because we got the table all set and you smell a pot roast cooking on the stove, and I'm beginning to feel faint, and Molly keeps looking at the clock. You needn't jump to conclusions.
No. The longer a pot roast cooks, the better it is, I always say.
It certainly smells delicious. Very fond of pot roast myself, particularly when it's cooked at home. I think the sight of a well-browned pot roast with that delicately flavored gravy oozing out of it is one of the finest. McGee, don't you feel well?
Here, dearie. Sit down a minute.
I'll be all right. Don't mind me.
Do you think it's something you ate?
Whatever it is, it must be very painful. The poor lad's got tears in his eyes. Use your handkerchief, darling.
I haven't got one on me.
What's that up your sleeve there?
That's my napkin, Snoopy.
Hello, folks. What's cooking?
Pot roasting. Hasn't it been a lovely day?
Hello, Mr. Wilcox.
Hello, Mr. Mayor. I'm sorry if I'm breaking in on a dinner party. Or is it a dinner party? Oh, on second thought, it's so late you must have all had dinner.
That's two thoughts you've had today, mastermind. So don't push your luck.
Hey, what are you so bad-tempered about, Fibber?
Well, he doesn't feel well, Mr. Wilcox. He feels kind of irritated.
What about, Fibber? What's your beef?
Pot roast. Or have I mentioned that?
I think McGee will be all right if we can get him to eat something, Wilcox.
Maybe some crackers and milk, eh?
Or some tea and toast.
McGee, stop trembling.
Oh, I ain't trembling. I'm just quivering with happiness with everybody taking so much interest in me. What do you want, anyway,
Now,
Wilcox?
McGee, that's no way to talk to Mr. Wilcox. After all, he represents the sponsor. And if it wasn't for the sponsor, you wouldn't be eating. What am I saying? You'll have to make allowances for him today, Mr. Wilcox.
Sure. Everybody feels like that on occasion. I met a fellow today who was snapping everybody's head off.
He must have been even hungrier than I am.
What did you say, McGee?
He's just talking to himself. What was the matter with your irritable friend, Miss Wilcox?
Well, it's a funny thing. He was subconsciously annoyed by the dull and dingy looks of his car. I showed him how easy it was to bring back that showroom shine with some Johnson Car New. How it cleans and polishes in one easy operation in practically no time at all. And when he got through car-newing that automobile, he was the cheerfulest, happiest fellow you could ever hope to meet. Gay as a grig, so delighted with that gleaming finish and the simplicity of the whole car-new operation that he insisted on taking me out to lunch.
Lunch. Why doesn't everybody go away and leave me to my memories?
Say, it was some lunch, too. Ice-cold jellied consomme, crisp lettuce salad, a golden brown, light and fluffy mushroom omelet. Oh, hey, grab him, Trivia. He's fainting.
I got it.
Somebody run and get a glass of pot roast. I mean water.
I'll dash down to the corner. There's a doctor down there.
I don't want a doctor.
I know it, but I promised him a car new demonstration today. See you later.
What's the matter with you, McGee? Every time anybody mentions food, you turn pale.
I think he's a little faint from loss of hunger, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, I'm all right. I think maybe I better run up and go to bed.
Can you sleep on an empty stomach?
He sleeps on his side.
I can go to sleep, all right. All I got to do is just start counting politicians jumping over a pot roast. That always gets...
Come in. Mrs. Huffington.
How do you do, my dear? And Mr. McGee?
Hi, Uppy.
Nella Trivia, what a delightful surprise. I didn't know the McGees were having a guest for dinner. A lovely evening, isn't it?
It was a nice day, too. Won't you sit down, Abigail?
Oh, thank you. No, my dear. I just stopped in to see if you and Miss McGee had any plans for dinner this evening.
Yeah, we had plans, all right. Anyway, I did. But as the poet says, there's many a slip twixt the skillet and the gullet.
I don't think McGee feels much like eating this evening, Mrs. Uppington. The very mention of food seems to upset him.
Yes, the poor lad. I think he has a touch of oral humidity.
Good heavens. Oh, humidity. What is that?
My mouth waters. Why'd you ask me?
Oh, well, I was eating alone tonight, and my cook has prepared simply delicious brassée, and I had rather hoped you would be able to join me. Oh, informally, of course.
Well, thanks, Abigail, but I don't believe we'll be able to. It was nice of you to think of us.
Yeah. I ain't much for those French dishes anyway, Uppy. I'm strictly a eat in the kitchen and holler for more ketchup guy myself.
If I didn't feel that I was deserting McGee when he doesn't feel well, Mrs. Uppington, I'd accept your invitation myself.
Well, I'm terribly sorry, Miss McGee. Perhaps some other time.
Okay, if I live. I think I got a bad case of malnutrition. My tummy is so wrinkled you could grab me by the head and feet and play me like an accordion.
Well, I wouldn't think of doing such a thing. But you know, I was so sure that you particularly, Mr. McGee, would enjoy enjoy a bit of brassé.
Oh, I don't think so, Abigail. He usually shies away from those foreign specialties. As he says, he's just a Yankee Doodle for a bean and a noodle.
Well, some other time, perhaps. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye. I'd really like to have gone over there, dearie, but everything's always so fancy.
Yeah, I always feel that I ought to be eating my olives with gloves on over there. Hey, Latrivia.
Yes?
You're an educated guy. What was this book brassy her cook dreamed up?
You don't know?
No, what is it?
Pot roast.
That's good, boy. Look, Latrivia, if you'd left when Wilcox did, he might have given you a lift in his car.
I wouldn't think of leaving till I'm sure you'll be all right, McGee.
Oh, he'll be all right, Mr. Mayor. I think I'll put him right to bed.
With no dinner?
Oh, food on dinner. Then good night's sleep is just as valuable.
Not me. I've got to have my dinner. But if you're going to bed, I guess I'd better be going to a restaurant someplace.
Well, it's nice you dropped in, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, we're sorry we're not going to Trivia. I get awful hungry for a good rest-cooked meal now and then.
Don't be silly, McGee. I smelled that pot roast.
What pot roast? Oh, that pot roast. Well, that's for lunch tomorrow. Oh, good night, Mr. Mayor.
Good night. Good night, McGee.
Good night, Latrivia. Oh, boy. Now for that pot roast. I thought that guy would never go
Looks
home.
like we'd have to start taking our meals behind locked doors, dearie.
Well, come on. I got just enough strength left to lift the first mouthful of pot roast, and then when I...
McGee, look at my pot roast is ruined.
Huh?
It's all cooked away.
Let's see.
Oh,
my God. Oh, my. Oh, looks like a retread on a retread. Doggone that Latrivia anyway. He's responsible for this. Next time
never mind that, McGee. Get your hat. We got to go out and eat.
Huh?
Come on.
Okay. Well, let's go someplace where they got pot roast.
All right.
Now, I've been all puckered up for pot roast for 3 days. Come on, Molly, let's hurry.
Oh, my. I hope we can get a table right away, McGee. I'm starved.
You're starved. Gee whiz, I can even eat spinach. Hey, sis, can we get a table?
I think so, dear. I have one right over here. This way, please.
Thank you, dearie. No, I almost felt sorry for Mayor Latrivia, McGee. I wish we'd asked him to eat with us.
Not me. The way that wolf moved in on us, I wouldn't split a pea with him.
Here you are, sir. Here's the menu.
Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Let me study this a minute.
McGee, will you look? The specialty for today.
Where?
At the top of the page there. Pot roast.
Ah, baby. This is my lucky day.
Sure.
Hey, sis, bring me a double order of that pot roast. How about you, Molly?
No, just a bowl of soup and some green salad.
Okay.
Yes, madam. But I'm afraid I have bad news for you, sir.
Huh?
The pot roast is all gone. I just served the last portion of it to that gentleman over there.
Where?
The gentleman that is back toward you at the next table.
Oh, well, we can't have everything. Hey, Bud, how's the pot roast?
Excellent. In fact... Oh, hello, McGee.
Latrivia!
Maybe you've already noticed.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Navy wants and needs 30,000 pilots a year to be trained on a 12-month program of flight training. The requirements are simple. They want young men between 18 and 27, high school graduates, who have been American citizens for at least 10 years. All those successfully completing the course will be commissioned as ensign with pay and allowances of over $200 a month.
Yes, it's a wonderful and thrilling opportunity for young men to find a new glory under old glory.
Join the Navy and see the world made into a decent place for free people to live in. Good night.
Good night, all.
Our next broadcast is a science fiction drama series that was broadcast from April 24th, 1955 to January 9th, 1958 in various time slots on NBC. Known for its high production values and adapting stories from the leading American authors of the era, it has been described as one of the finest offerings of American radio drama and one of the best science fiction series in any form and medium. We present to you X-1 on HOJO Radio.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in 1,000,000 could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction, presents X-1. Tonight's story, Shanghai.
Okay, very funny.
Take it over, boy. Tomorrow the old ball and chain.
Yeah. Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow you commit matrimony.
Come on. We came down here to Scarlet Square to have a little fun. We might as well be at my mother's musicale in Beacon Street.
Oh, the problems of the rich.
Tell me, Jeff, just where does the coffin fortune come from? Pirate treasure?
No, I guess it started in Nantucket. My great something or other used to be a whaler.
A whaler? There she blows.
A dead whale or a stove boat. Watch my trusty harpoon. hey, we'll look out for the fort.
Oh, my. Where's the money now?
Oh, I don't know. We've got a lot of commercial holdings, mills, import-export outfits, rocket lines, you know.
Mere trivia.
All right, now look, why don't we get out of this dump? We go up to the Copley Plaza. It may be stuffy, but at least the glasses are clean.
Well, you're the condemned man.
All right, you two go ahead and get in the car. I'll settle.
All right, meet you out in front.
Right. Excuse me.
You want something, Bud?
Yeah, the check.
Okay. Hey, Milton, check.
He'll be right out. Right, thank you.
Hello, mate. Nice night, eh?
Oh, yeah, I suppose so.
I've been watching you. Celebrating?
Sort of.
Yeah, so am I. Just got off a deep space run out to Centaurus.
Oh, that's a 15-year run, isn't it?
15 and 3 blooming months.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how'd you know? You a spaceman?
No, not exactly. Where's that check, barkeep?
Hang on to your hat, Bud. Milton's slow, but he's sure.
Fill it up, Charlie. Say, why don't you join me, matey? Here, Charlie.
Oh, no, thank you.
Oh, come on, won't take off him, oh.
Well,
celebrate whatever it is you're celebrating on me. Pour it, Charlie.
Okay.
Well, all right, thank you. I guess I might as well.
Cheers.
Yeah, right, cheers. Oh, what was that, Marty?
Charlie's special brand, eh, Charlie?
Yeah.
Well. Oh, say, look, Charlie, would you get that waiter out here? I've got to meet him.
Hey, what's your hurry, matey? You got plenty of time.
Sure. Sit down.
Take it easy. You don't look so good.
No, I don't feel so good.
Now, sit right here. You feel chipper as a blooming grasshopper in a sec.
No, I've got to get outside. The car's in a hurry. Where's the check? Check. Oh.
All right, matey. Up on your feet. Wakey.
Oh, all right, let go of me. What's the idea?
Rise and shine and greet the dawn.
What? Where am I? What's going on here?
Come on now, matey. Up in there. Wakey.
No, wait a minute. So you were at that bar, Scarlet Square.
Come on now, up on deck or you'll be in trouble.
Deck? What are you talking about? Where am I?
It's hard to say exactly. Offhand, about 8 hours out of Atlantic Spaceport.
Atlantic Spaceport? Well, look, what kind of a joke is this? If Alan and Peter think this is funny... What ship is this?
R.S. Michael M. Rafferty, Coffin Line.
Oh, Coffin Line. Well, that
makes it easy. Now, you've got to put back to port.
Forget your toothbrush, Banks.
No, listen, you runt. You take me to the captain, or I'll tear you apart.
Here, I'll let go of my jacket.
All right, get moving.
Sure, mate. Here, I'll take you to the captain. But you're going to be sorry.
Morton, what the devil are you doing on the bridge? Get below before
Right away, sir. Only this here gentleman asked to see you.
Yeah, that's right, Captain. There's been a mistake made. I'm afraid it was supposed to be a joke.
Oh?
Yes, you see, I'm going to be married today, and I suppose the boys thought it'd be funny to make me miss the ceremony. I'm sure it won't be too much trouble to have you drop me off back at the Atlantic Spaceport.
What? Morton, what is this?
Well, it's simple, Captain. He wants you to turn the ship around, that's all.
Now, look, if there's any trouble with your superior, I'm sure I can fix it up. You see, I'm Jeff Coffin.
Yeah?
Well, you don't understand. My father is Cyrus Coffin. He owns this ship.
Oh, he does, Morton, get this drunk below.
Now, just a minute. I can understand you not believing me, but I can identify my... Hey, where's my wallet? I've been robbed. Oh, now, look, Captain, wait a minute. All you have to do is radio back and check.
Mr. Black, remove this man from the bridge.
Yes, but...
Aye, sir. You heard the captain, Buster.
Oh, now, wait a minute. Let go of me. This is no way to treat a passenger.
Passenger? Huh. Wake up, sonny boy. You're one of the crew. Now get below.
All right now, mate. Grab yourself a buffer. Get to work on those deck
No,
plates.
but they can't get away with this. This is kidnapping.
Perhaps yes, perhaps no. I'll get this here deck nice and shiny, and we might even see about some grub. I'll be back in 2 hours. And mind you, I want to be able to see me bloomin' reflection in it.
Better polish that deck plate.
They can't get away with this.
Well, the law says once you sign on, you're under absolute orders. I looked it up.
Yeah, but I didn't sign on. I was kidnapped.
You won't be able to prove it. Come on, mister, please. I didn't get anything to eat yet today, so give me a break, huh?
Oh, all right. What do? Run the buffer over it?
Yeah, that's right. Like this.
You sign on?
Yeah, I ran away from home.
How old are you?
16. 30 when we get back.
Yeah. What do you mean 30? We're headed for Mars, aren't we?
Only to refuel. We're outbound to Centaurus.
Oh, no, it can't be. Well, that's a 15-year run. Morton! I've got to get back.
No use.
I'm getting married. My bride-to-be will think I'm dead. Martin! Martin!
What's up here? You want me to call Mr. Black again? He'll give you what for.
Listen to me, Morton. Listen, I've got to get back to Earth. I can't disappear for 15 years.
Oh, is that the fact?
Look, we stop at Mars, right?
Yes, and you'll be below decks under lock and key.
Listen to me. If I can make it worth your while, will you get me off at Marsport?
Jumping ship, huh? That's real naughty, mate.
$1,000?
Why, what would I tell me poor old mother in better say?
$2,000.
5 in advance.
What do you mean in advance? You're probably the one that rolled me for my wallet.
I'll find a way. They don't believe your young Coffin, but maybe I know better. All right, it's a deal.
Look, Mr. Coffin, can you take me with you? I didn't realize what it would be like. I can pay my share. I could work it out for you, or maybe borrow money. I couldn't stand 15 years. I'd go crazy.
All right, sure. What about it, Morton?
Boy'll cost you another 1,000.
You cheap swindler.
Here now, Mr. Coffin. I'm all what stands between you and a lovely pleasure cruise for 15 years. So I'll thank you to treat me with a respect and politeness what a gentleman like myself deserves.
Stand by. Stand by for landing procedure.
All right now. Listen careful. This is the cable locker for the grappling anchor.
Right.
When she lands, this hatch will open. Cables go out. Don't get yourself caught in them. You'll be tore apart.
All right, we've got that.
You sure we can get out?
Now, you just do what I say. When we drop down to the blast pit, nobody'll be there. Lie low in the pit till dark. Got that?
Right. And look, Morton, I'll tell the patrol you helped us get away. That'll help you when they catch up with this gang.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you kindly. I've got to get to my station now. Luck.
Thanks. Thanks, Mr. Morton.
Well, there's a landing horn.
Now keep clear of that cable, Joey. Here we go. Right. Hold on tight.
There goes the grappling cable.
Yeah. All right, come on. Drop through the hatch. It's about 6 feet. All right, it's clear. Hurry up.
Here I come. Oh.
You all right?
I twisted my ankle. It's all right.
All right, there's the blast pit. Get going.
Right.
Now, we're all right so far. The ship hides us.
Here's the pit.
All right, now get down so they can't see you. Wait a minute. I hear somebody coming. Keep still.
Maybe we better look.
Look, if we stick our heads up over the edge, they'll see us short. Now keep down and keep still.
I hear him.
Shh.
Well, well, well. Look what we have here. 2 little babes in the wood. Now you two move and I'll shoot you in the belly. Morton, you got good eyes.
I told you I saw him coming this way, Mr. Black. Jumping ship. My, that's a terrible thing to do.
Mr. Black, inform the ship's company that these 2 men have been found guilty of attempted desertion.
Desertion? You kidnapped me, you dirty crook! Don't you talk to Captain Howell that way!
I'm sentencing them to 24 hours hull watch. Take them away.
Morton, take him to the aft lock.
Aye, sir. You'll calm down after 24 hours hull watch.
What's hull watch?
Very simple. We put you 2 in spacesuits, shove you through the airlock on the end of a line. You sit out there and watch the hull for 24 hours. No food, no water, and the eating units in those suits are just a little bit defective. Makes it interesting along about the 18th hour.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Here we are, gentlemen. The airlock. You get in there. Got 5 minutes to get into them suits before we blow the air out. See you in 24 hours. Maybe. Welcome back to our little home.
Water. Water.
Thirsty, eh? You should control these animals' instincts.
Get water.
Right, yeah? Yeah. Slopping like a bloody animal.
Joey passed out. Help him.
He'll be all right. Teach a lesson, both of you. Take my advice and behave yourselves. We've got 15 years to go on this here ship. You might as well make the best of it.
Hey, Morton! What do you call this mess?
That's your supper, mighty food concentrates.
What's the idea? Only 2 months out and on concentrates already?
You complaining?
Yeah, I'm complaining. If Captain Howell's chiseling on the manifest, that's his business. But when he tries to take it out in our hides...
You keep quiet or I'll turn you into Mr. Black. Concentrate is what you get to eat from here on out. Now shove it into your face and keep quiet.
Suppose I shove it into your face and see how you like it. What's going on in here? What's going on? Morton.
He struck me, that's what.
48 hours hull watch. All right, what are you all looking at? Get back into your places. Morton, bring that man down to the aft airlock.
It's murder, that's what. Plain murder.
Space Code gives a 30-hour limit for punishment.
They didn't even have a burial. Just shoved them out the lock.
Well, if the owners knew about this, they'd stop it.
Fat lot of good that's going to do us during the next 15 years.
Wait a minute, if we could get the ship back to Mars.
No, 2 weeks after we landed, we'd be hung. That's what Space Code says about mutiny. And if they catch you in the act, they shoot you down and no questions.
All right, I'm willing to take that chance. We're going to let Black and Howell kick us around for 15 years.
Why don't we take over and head back?
Right.
I'm for it.
Let's go.
You bet. Go I interrupt something, gentlemen? Discussion? Talking about the captain, maybe?
Grab him.
Here, because
Get him. Throw him into the jet. Come on.
Oh, have you all out of the Ellen shifts? Also, your knife rations, that's what I'll...
Show on my oil rag, Morton.
Well, that's done it. He's an officer.
Who cares?
Yeah, we've got to move now. Joey?
Yeah.
You get up to the radio room and smash the set before they can get a message out.
Right.
Pop, you get aft. Tell the engine watch.
Yes.
The rest of us will go up on the bridge.
How about this rat?
Tie him up. Speed counts now. We've got to take over before they know what hit him. All right, careful. We've got to surprise him.
Don't worry, we'll get him cold.
Jeff.
Shh, quiet.
Sparks were sending when I got in, but I knocked them out and smashed the set. We're okay.
Good boy. All right, come on. Right past the bulkhead.
Look out!
The blast bulkhead.
Yeah, we're cut off from the bridge.
We'll never get through that.
They must have found out somehow.
The intercom. Black can turn it on from the bridge. You heard the whole thing.
Well, we better get out of here.
What'll they do?
I don't know.
We got all the controls up there. We can shut down the driver, but we can't steer.
Yeah. You better dog down the hatch behind us.
All right, men. Captain Howell's giving you 1 minute to give up quiet.
In a pig's eye, Black.
You'll hang for mutiny, every one of you.
What do we do now?
Quiet. They can hear everything on the intercom.
If I pull the jack out.
That's the boy. Look, we've got to get through to the bridge.
It's a Mexican standoff. We can't get at them. They can't get at us.
What's that?
It's an air leak. The pressure's down.
It's Howell. He blew the hatch on the mess hall section. Just opened her up and let the air out.
Morton, do you know what Black's going to do? He's going to bleed off the air down here.
Serves you all right. If I had my way, I'd see you all out on the hull till you froze stiff.
You're forgetting something, Morton. You're back here with us.
What do you mean?
If Black and Howell blow out compartments one by one or bleed the air off, you'll get it too.
They'll take care of me. Don't you worry about that.
Oh, you think so, huh? Joey?
Yeah.
Plug that intercom back in.
Right.
Captain? Captain?
Giving up?
We've got Morton back here.
Yeah?
If you try anything on us, he'll get it too.
What am I supposed to do, cry?
You don't care if he dies?
That's his problem. We're going to drop the oxygen level 5%.
Can't do that to me. Captain! Captain!
It's unfortunate that you were captured, Morton, but the security of my ship comes first.
You mean you don't care? You'd see me dead.
Precisely.
Well, you can't. It's murder, that's what. I'm not one of them. You can't kill me. You can't.
Joey, pull the intercom plug. All right, there you are, Morton. They'd kill you just as soon as look at you. Now listen, we've got to get through that bulkhead. You know this ship. There must be some way.
Morton, we're your only chance. Get us through the bulkhead.
All right. All right, why shouldn't I? They'd kill me.
Well, then there is a way to get through.
An emergency release.
Uh-huh.
They don't tell crewmen about it to keep them from breaking through in an engine blast and leaking radiation to the bridge.
Well, then let's get going. We've got to get through that bulkhead before Howell cuts the air down and gets us all. Here's the bulkhead, Morgan. Where's the release?
Under the floor panel. You can pry it up.
All right, hurry.
I got it. Yeah, she's up.
Wax on a key. Ready?
All right, Morton. Open it up.
Here goes.
Morton! He's dead. Electrocuted, and the bulkhead's still closed.
They didn't even get to turn that key. It killed him instantly. Harry.
Yeah?
Have you got your watch gloves? They're insulated.
Oh, yeah, sure. Get Morton out of the way.
Don't touch him, Joey. He's got the current through him.
I'll shove him away with the gloves. All right, now. Stand by. Here goes a key.
All right, let's go. Get him.
Come on in! Stand back there!
Come on, get him!
Stand back! All right, Flexi, how you like this?
All right, grab the guns. Joey, look out! Let go of that gun, Hal. All right, hold them both.
You don't have to worry about Black. I got him square with a wrench.
We better tie up the captain.
Yeah. Well, what do you think you're going to do now?
We're going to turn around and go back home.
I don't think so. I burned the navigation tapes, and none of you can recalculate them.
Why, you
You'll
dirty-
just wander in space till the fuel gives out. You'll die right here on this ship.
Jeff, the interceptor screens went on.
Meteor?
No, it's a ship. A patrol ship coming up on us.
Oh, they must have got an SOS off.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not so sure that's bad. Oh, wait a minute. We don't have to worry. We can just tell them the truth.
You're not familiar with space code, young man. Mutiny is punishable by immediate execution. In other words, they don't ask questions. They just shoot.
He's right, Jeff. We're through.
Can we get away?
Not from a patrol ship. They've already sent us a heave-to flash. If we run, they'll blow us out of space.
I'm afraid your mutiny is about over with, gentlemen. They'll be aboard in an hour. And 10 minutes after that, you'll all be dead.
Nobody move. Sergeant, take a squad and secure the ship. Collect all weapons and post a guard in the engine room.
Yes, sir. You, Brown, Williams, Osinski, come on.
Well, I'm delighted to see you, Major. I wasn't quite sure my SOS had gotten through.
Oh? You're Captain Howell?
That's right. And I can swear out the affidavit of mutiny.
I don't think a mutiny charge will stand up, Howell. Not with a relief of command warrant out for you. I think we'll just forget about it.
But you can't do that. Space code is clear. You recorded my SOS.
No, we didn't, Howell.
Then how'd you get here?
They sent us after you to get Jeff Coffin. Where is he?
I'm Jeff Coffin.
Jeff, we had a missing persons alarm for you, and then when a check you signed turned up at Marsport.
A check? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's right. I gave one to Morton to help me get away.
And he sold it to a fence for half face value. We traced it back to the ship. Coffin, I've got orders to escort you personally. We're taking you back to Earth.
Can I send out a message, Major?
Of course. Oh, that reminds me, Jeff. I've got one for you from your fiancée. She said to tell you that she didn't object to a bachelor party in principle, but she did think 6 months was stretching it a bit.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction. X-1 was an NBC Radio Network production.
You're listening to HOJO Radio. Stay tuned.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction, presents
X minus 1.
The Martian Death March.
I've always been interested in lost causes. The revolt of the Scottish Jacobites against England, the last stand of the Cherokee and Sioux Indians, and the death march of the Martian Highlanders in 1997. There's been a lot written about that march. The UN Commission report covers 4 volumes, but the whole story isn't down on paper yet. I know it because I was on that march from the beginning to the end. There's one part of the story that no one ever mentions, The Martian Death March of 97 was led by an Earthman. Maybe you've been over the route of the march. There wasn't any highway there 30 years ago in 97. There was desert, hot, burning desert. I lived at the edge of the Kalmak Canal then with my father. He was a prospector searching the surrounding desert with sonar probe and Geiger counter, scratching just enough ore from under the Martian sands to pay for our grub stake the next year. I remember he was in the Adamson digger in the North Quadrant when I came running out that day.
There's somebody coming, Dad, across the desert.
You sure?
I saw them. They're a couple of miles out.
Well, how many cars?
They're on foot.
On foot across the desert?
Honest, Dad. I saw them.
Are you sure it wasn't a light reflection off the canal?
No. It was dark against the sand.
I don't like that. You run back and get the rifles out. I've got to pull the digger into the shed.
Is there going to be fighting, Dad?
I don't know. I got a whole year's ore piled out back in the bins, and I ain't going to lose it to no claim jumpers. You go back to the shack and break out those rifles and see they're loaded, you hear? And jump!
Dad had 3 surplus Army rifles and a couple of homemade grenades made out of ore cans stuffed with Adamson A explosives. We crouched inside the shack, waiting. The shadow of the water tower in the doorway grew longer as the quick Martian dusk settled down over the desert.
And there they come, Al. There's 2 of them.
What's that on the first one's back?
Why, I haven't seen one of those in 20 years.
What is it?
A one-man desert tank. They used to carry water that way before Adamson put out the air-still units.
There's something funny about that second one. Look, he's all spindly, and his head's funny.
He's funny, all right. Al, that's a Martian.
I never saw one off the reservation before.
Well, there hasn't been one, not in 10 years. I don't like this.
Here they come into the dooryard.
You remember what I told you. Line up the sights and just squeeze the trigger.
Hello! Hello there!
Now, Dad?
Hello!
Wait a minute. What do you want?
Water! I need water.
Who are you?
My name is John.
John, huh? What are you doing with that spider?
His name is Cantalcar.
I don't care what his name is. What's a human doing with a Martian?
I found him in the dry bed of Kalmak Canal, nearly dead of thirst.
He probably ran off on the reservation.
When our brothers are caged, they seek freedom.
Brothers? Those spiders?
All living creatures are our brothers, on Mars as on Earth.
Hey, wait a minute. Bert Olstrom at False Wells told me there was a screwball heads preacher over there hollering about letting the spiders loose off the reservations.
Let no man call his own, no man nor tribe nor nation.
I guess that's you, all right. Bert told me they called you Crazy John. I don't suppose there's any harm in you. Fill your tank up at the air still. And you can even have supper with us.
We would be happy to.
We? What do you mean, we?
Cantalcar and myself.
That spider? Oh, no, I ain't having a Martian sitting down to eat with me. You come on, though.
Thank you, sir. No. Where my brother is not welcome, I cannot go.
Well, suit yourself. Al, get the key to the water tower. Come out here.
All right, Dad.
And put away the guns. We won't have any trouble from these 2.
The old man filled his tank at the air-still tower, and the Martian went through the ash pile for half-burned fuel brick. When we went in the house for supper, I could see them silhouetted against the fire. The old man with his wild hair and beard, and the thin, spidery arms and legs of the Martian.
Dad?
What?
Are all the Martians on the reservation?
Yeah. All but a couple of wild ones in the mountains up north. The patrol catches a couple every year.
Why?
Well, they murder people.
No, I mean, why are they on the reservation?
Because it's the safest place to keep them. Past us all.
How many are there?
Oh, I don't know. A few thousand. They keep dying off.
Why?
Well, they catch earth diseases. Chickenpox almost wiped out the whole gang of them 2 years ago.
Chickenpox? I had that. It didn't wipe me out.
You ain't a Martian.
I was born on Mars.
Well, I mean you ain't one of those spiders. Now eat your food, it'll get cold.
Okay. Dad,
Oh, what now?
were the Martians always on the reservation?
Well, since the Outpost 3 massacre, they have been.
What was that?
Oh, back before you were born, they lived wild in the mountains up north.
Were they fierce?
Fierce enough. Only place for them spiders, behind wire.
Yeah, it sure is.
Out in the dooryard, the campfire flickered at the base of the water tower. The first of the Martian moons had set. The other wouldn't rise for several hours. I could hear the sandpeepers out in the desert as I stood there. The old man and the Martian were sitting on the ground, huddled close to the fire. It gets cold fast on the desert when the sun goes down.
Is that you, boy? You can come up to the fire if you like.
My dad wouldn't like it.
All right.
But I'm not afraid of no spider.
No, there is nothing to be afraid of.
How come his arms are all skinny?
Ask him.
Does he talk?
Yes, his name is Kantalka.
It is, huh? Hello.
Hello, boy.
He talks funny.
It is not my language.
Why isn't he on the reservation? You can get in trouble helping spiders to escape.
No man has the right to imprison the innocent. They that are enslaved will be freed. They that are in sickness and misery will be comforted. They that are exiled in a strange place will be restored.
My dad says the spiders are treacherous, cowardly, murdering savages. That's what he says.
Boy, there was a time on this world when there were no earthmen, when the ships and the machinery of earth were unknown. Then the people of the highlands lived in peace. But today they are a handful, starving, dying behind the wire.
But the reservation isn't so bad.
Our home is in the mountains of the north, not the desert.
I heard a voice which cried out to me in the desert, "Go to your brothers."
Do they really call you crazy, John?
I have been called many things.
You really think we ought to let those old spiders off the reservation?
Boy, we die here in the desert. We die in the sun and of the sicknesses you have brought from Earth.
That's 'cause Martians are just weak. I'll bet I could knock you down myself.
You could. We are a different people. We have not the strength of muscle of Earthmen. But we will not stay here to die.
You won't get off the reservation. The patrol takes care of all that. They won't let any stinking old spiders out.
Even in the minds of children is planted the poison of evil. How long?
That night through the window, I could see the flicker of the old man's campfire. He was walking up and down now, shouting, singing hymns, verse after verse, his white beard catching the light as he passed behind the fire. The Martian sat slumped over, his thin, spindly arms folded across the huge barrel chest that had developed over the centuries as the air of Mars thinned and escaped into space. In the morning, I looked out, and they were gone. Looking back now, we wonder how they did it. The high-voltage wire around the reservation carried a fatal charge. The patrolmen in the tower had 50 caliber machine guns. The desert around the camp was mined heavily. Yet, at dawn, August 7th, 1997, they broke out. I was down at the dried-up canal bed hunting sandpeepers when my father came running after me.
Al! Al!
Here I am.
Come on, back to the house.
What's the matter, Dad?
You shut up and run.
What is it?
The spiders busted loose. Bert Olstrom radioed in.
They come in here?
They're headed this way, the murdering devils.
They kill anybody?
6 patrolmen when they busted through the wire.
What are you gonna do, Dad?
Wire a keg of Adamson A across the gate. You get in there and get the guns out.
I got the rifles and shoved a full clip in each one. Then I slipped a primer fuse on the homemade grenades and lugged them out to the porch. Dad was running lead wires back to a detonator from a half keg of Adamson A he'd set across the gate.
There.
That's it. Now, give me one of those rifles.
Will they be here soon?
You can see the dust over the rise. Murdering spiders.
What'll they do?
I don't know. Now, make sure you get a good sight, Al. Don't waste any bullets.
There they are, Dad. There they come.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold up now. I want to get a good shot. Let him get closer.
Dad, that's Crazy John up in front. There. He's taller than the spiders. You can see his beard.
You're right. Oh, that renegade rat. He probably helped him break out of the reservation. Listen, Al. If anything happens to me, you light out back to the shed. You can hide out in the empty ore bins till they go away. Now, you got that?
All right, Dad.
We're going to come in.
The spider's shouting something, Dad.
Probably a trick. Get down a little, Al. You're in the way. I got him clear now. Right in the head. Up a little now. Got him! Got him, Al.
Dad, look out! They've got guns!
Down! Get down!
Oh! Dad!
Get out, Al! Get out to the shed!
Dad, you're hit!
Go on! Those spiders are going to rush. Now get going!
No, I can't let you!
Shut up and get out of here, you hear? Get out of here!
I ran back through the house to the shed. Behind me, I could hear the Martians sweeping up to the dooryard. Then suddenly the ground shook, and I could feel the dull concussion waves hit my ears as the Adamson A exploded. I could hear the high, whispered screams of the Martians and the rattle of fragments on the metal roof of the shed. I dived into the empty ore bin and slammed the hatch almost shut. I sat there waiting. And then suddenly a shadow fell across the edge of light, and the hatch slid open on top of me.
You leave me alone. I'll kill you.
Boy, I've been looking for you.
Where's my dad? What did you do to my dad?
He's dead.
You killed him. You and those spiders. I'll kill you. I'll kill all those stinking murdering spiders.
They are our brothers, boy. Your father shot without warning, and the fire was returned against my orders.
You mean you weren't going to attack us?
Our brothers came in peace. They are going home to their mountains. We came to get water for the journey.
You mean you just wanted water? You... Dad!
John, the Earth Patrol will be following us soon.
We must go.
And the boy?
We'll have to leave him here with water and supplies.
No, the Earth Patrol would question him. We need the time. He goes with us.
They tore the Adamson air still from the tower and mounted it on poles. They piled our supplies in the yard and loaded them on their backs. And then they started. I marched with the old man at the head, and the column stretched out behind us on the desert. I turned to look back at our house, but the sun was behind it, blinding red. The old man pulled me around as he marched, his eyes fixed on the horizon, where far to the north rose the cool mountains that were the ancient home of the Highlanders. 14 of the Martians died the first day. They dropped to the side of the column when they could go no farther, and died. But the march went on. On the 5th day, we swung wide to avoid a mining settlement, but not wide enough. The miners were in ambush behind a pile of rocks.
I shall lead them home, home to the promised rest, home to the mountains. March forward! March forward!
And the march went on. We wound across the desert in wild zigzags, following the paths the old man had traveled through the years. Only once a patrol plane hovered on the horizon, and then shot away. The days went on, the weeks, and the Martians died. They died of exhaustion. They died of the diseases we had given. And they died of thirst. The Adamson still could produce 27 units of water an hour, no more. And on that, they died of thirst.
Here, boy, here's your water.
But that's more than the others got.
Take it.
It's yours. You're giving me your water.
It will be provided to me. He that brings justice to his brothers will drink deep of the water of righteousness. He that... Drink your water, boy.
Across the desert, from the Kalmak Canal to Fever Dip, past the towering mesas of the Higgins Badlands, across the dry sea bottoms they marched. On the 54th day of the march, we halted at evening. The air was thinner, colder now. The rations had long since been exhausted. I lay down to sleep wrapped in the old man's coat. Early in the morning, before sunrise, I woke suddenly. The ground mist that had covered the desert the night before was lifting slowly, and I saw the old man standing by the burned-out fire, the vapor swirling around his legs in the cold light of the false dawn, edging his wild beard.
Go back to sleep, boy.
I can't.
The end is near. I have led them through the wilderness, dry shod across the seas, and before us lie the mountains.
You mean we're almost there?
When the mist is taken from the eyes of man, the place of refuge can be seen.
You mean the mountains? It's over. We're there.
I have led them to their home, and I must go back to the desert.
You mean alone?
Even now, I hear a voice in the wind. Carry the message to the men of earth. Bring to this new world the message of the old. All beings created in the universe are my brothers, and he that harms my brother harms me. Goodbye. Goodbye, boy. You'll be safe now.
Goodbye, John. Goodbye.
The Martians found him 500 yards from the camp, dead. Now the mist rose, and before us towered the highlands, the tall green mountains and the cool sky. The march was over. Of the 7,000 Martians who started, 900 were alive. They gathered now on the rise of ground and faced the hills. Their thin bodies wavered as they stood, and some dropped to the ground as they stood there. But there was a light of hope in their large, staring eyes. Most of them had died, but they had died on the way home, and now the march was over. Then the patrol planes were spotted on the horizon, and within 10 minutes they had landed. The Martians stood silently as the squads piled out and set up the 50 caliber machine guns and the petroleum gel flamethrower.
All right, you spiders. Hands up and stay together. Gather in a bunch and don't try anything. Sergeant?
Yes, sir.
Shoot the first spider that moves. And shoot to kill. All right, where's that boy? There was a boy reported.
Here I am.
You all right, kid? They hurt you?
No, I'm all right. John gave me his water ration.
Oh, the leader, huh? Well, I've got a warrant for him. Where is he?
There. He's dead.
Huh? Oh. Well, just as well. I'd hate to be him in front of a settler's jury.
What are you going to do to them?
The spiders? See those transport planes coming in? We're going to ship them all back to the reservation where they belong.
You can't. You can't do that.
What are you talking about, kid?
You can't take them back. They're home. John said they were home. You can't take them back. It isn't fair. I won't let you. I won't let you. I won't let you.
Hey, let go of me. Sergeant!
Yes, sir.
Peel this crazy kid off me.
All right, now, kid, take it easy. I must be shot. Can't believe he's safe now.
Yeah, I guess that's it. All right, you spiders, step it up. Move along to those transport planes. It's all over now. You're headed right back to the reservation.
They separated them in groups of 50 and loaded them on the planes. 900 out of 7,000. And soon the first big-bellied ships waddled out on the hard sands and lifted slowly into the air, headed back to the south, flying over the trail of dead and dying who started on the march to the highlands, the march to home.
Don't worry about them spiders, kid. We'll take care of them. Come on now, kid. You'll feel better as soon as you get back to civilization.
I looked once more at the green mountains towering through the mist. And then, just before the motor raced, I saw John. Crazy John propped up against a dognut bush where the Martians had placed him. The wind from the south gave the wild hair and beard a rippling life. He faced the hills, the home and rest he had promised his brothers, as he led them through the wilderness of Mars.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was an NBC Radio Network production.
Our next broadcast was produced for syndication in 1949 at WMGM, New York. It was based on a popular series of movies in the late 1930s and early 1940s and brought to the microphone the stars of the series, Lou Ayres and Lionel Barrymore. Ayres plays the young, idealistic doctor, and Barrymore, ever in character, was the crusty, lovable diagnostician. The men worked at Blair General Hospital, one of the great citadels of American medicine, a clump of gray-white buildings planted deep in the heart of New York, where life begins, where life ends, where life goes on. We present to you Dr. Kildare on HOJO Radio.
The story of Dr. Kildare.
Whatsoever house I enter, there will I go for the benefit of the sick. Whatsoever things I see or hear concerning the life of men, I will keep silence thereon, counting such things to be held as sacred trusts. I will exercise my art solely for the
story of Dr. Kildare, starring Lou Ayres and Lionel Barrymore. Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer brought you those famous motion pictures. Now this exciting, heartwarming series is heard on radio. In just a moment, the story of Dr. Kildare. But first, your announcer. Now, the story of Dr. Kildare, starring Lou Ayres as Dr. Kildare and Lionel Barrymore as Dr. Gillespie.
Blair General Hospital, one of the great citadels of American medicine, the clump of gray-white buildings planted deep in the heart of New York, the nerve center of medical progress, where great minds and skilled hands wage man's everlasting battle against death and disease. Blair General Hospital, where life begins, where life ends, where life goes on. Dr. Gillespie, I looked for symptoms of childhood predisposition right in the beginning of the case, and there weren't any, so forget it. No sign of it.
But, Jimmy, are you sure you got a complete history of the patient?
Of course I did. Look, it's a simple case of nutritional anemia. There's no question about the diagnosis. So why all the third degree?
Oh, just checking, Jimmy, that's all.
Been doing quite a lot of that lately. Am I starting to slip, Doctor?
No, Jimmy, of course not.
But I'm not doing so well at diagnosing my own cases, maybe.
Well, nonsense. Of course you're doing well.
Perhaps I'm careless, not conscientious enough.
Oh, don't be ridiculous.
Well, then let's get to the real reason, shall we? It's that overdeveloped curiosity of yours.
Me? curiosity?
Mm-hmm. You just can't bear to have anything happen around here that you're not in on.
Kildare, I have never been so falsely accused in my entire professional career. I've always confined myself strictly to my own specific duties.
Which apparently include the whole hospital and half of New York City.
Just name one time. Go on. One lone, single, solitary time that I've ever butted into somebody else's business.
Why, I could think... Oh, hello, Parker.
Well, I'm back, Dr. Gillespie, Dr. Kildare. And I'll say one thing, I've never seen such a storm in my life. Why, I was nearly blown off my feet just getting out of the taxi. And
Parker, never mind the weather report. What's new over at the East Side Clinic?
Look, at least let me get my hat off before you start the third degree. I've never seen anyone with as much curiosity as you've got. Why, Dr. Kildare, did I say something funny?
No, but Dr. Gillespie just...
Parker, don't pay any attention to him. He has an abnormal sense of humor.
Oh, really? Well, I've never noticed any particular...
I'll get it. Kildare speaking.
Jimmy, this is Bill Frazier at the Coast Guard radio base.
Oh, Bill. Well, I haven't heard from you in months. How's everything?
Fine. We'll probably get a chance to talk about it later. Look, Jimmy, we've got an emergency here that sounds like it's up your alley.
What sort of an emergency?
It's a young seaman, apparently in pretty bad shape. Needs medical attention.
I see. And he's over there at the base.
No, he's on a freighter, 280 miles out at sea. The ship's fighting heavy seas and may not make port for 48 to 60 hours. They left the ship's doctor in Le Havre. Thought maybe that you might be able to talk to the captain and tell him what to do.
All right, Bill. I'll be over there in about 20 minutes.
Where are we going, Jimmy?
We? Well, I don't see any need for you going out in this weather just to...
No, don't be an idiot. Parker, get my hat and coat.
CGRB-4 calling MS Palermo. CGRB-4 calling MS Palermo. Come in, Palermo.
A little slow at answering, aren't they, Bill?
Yeah, I guess they're having some kind of...
MS Palermo standing by.
Here we go.
Go ahead, CGRB-4.
MS Palermo, regarding your request for medical assistance. We have Dr. Kildare here now in the transmitter room. Will you get the skipper?
Roger. Stand by.
I don't know what good we can do from here, but...
Captain Douglas, MS Palermo en route to New York. WKO-AM, speaking 70. Over.
Dr. Kildare, Captain. What's the trouble? Over.
Here's the picture, Doctor. This seaman is suffering from severe stomach cramps. His entire abdomen is swollen and very tender toward the right-hand side. He's running a fever and feels sick to his stomach. Over.
It's appendicitis, Jimmy. There's not a doubt of it.
Thank you, Doctor. Captain Douglas, it sounds very much like acute appendicitis. Over.
Yes, that's what we thought. Since we don't have a doctor on board, what's your advice? Over.
How long has he been this way?
About 12 hours.
And how long before you'll reach port?
2 days at least. It's rough going out here. Over.
All right, Captain Douglas. Just a moment.
Stand by, Palermo.
Roger.
Dr. Gillespie, I doubt if there's even a slight chance he can hold out 48 hours without that appendix rupturing, even in an ice pack.
No. He should be operated on right now, which, of course, is impossible.
Bill, isn't there any other ship near the Palermo? I mean, the one that does have a doctor aboard?
No, Jim, and it wouldn't do any good anyway. The wind's dropping out there now, but it's kicked up one of the worst ground swells in years. Now, it's out of the question to transfer a man from one ship to another.
Makes you feel so completely helpless. You need a pair of hands that could save that man's life, if they could only reach him. They can't.
No, unless you could find some way to send them by radio. And as far as I know...
Wait a second. That may be it.
What may be what?
Radio?
Ah, Jimmy, you're out of your mind.
It's been done before. I wonder if there's anyone on board with some medical background, any experience at all.
Yeah, I think your best bet's the radio operator. He was telling me earlier about being in the Navy medics during the war, but he's no doctor.
Kildare, you can't perform an operation by radio.
Without an operation, that man's going to die. Bill, let me talk to Captain Douglas again.
Right. CGRB-4 calling MS Palermo. CGRB-4 calling MS...
Oh, come on in, Parker. Did you bring the book?
Yes, here it is, Dr. Kildare. I hope I got here in time.
Yes, plenty of time. Now, let's see. Grable's Elements of Surgery, Illustrated Edition, 1939.
That's the book, isn't it?
It's the same one they have on board, and this will give us something to work from. Bill, will you contact the Palermo and we'll see how they're coming along with their preparations?
Right, Jimmy.
The book here now, I can start briefing that operator. What's his name, by the way?
Steve Nelson.
Oh, yeah.
CGRB4 calling MS Palermo. CGRB4 calling MS Palermo.
What's going on, Dr. Gillespie?
Parker, you are looking at a one-time brilliant young doctor who, under the pressure of circumstance, has gone slightly mad.
You don't mean that you finally...
No, I don't mean that I anything.
Parker, I think he's referring to me.
CGRB4 calling MS Palermo. Come in, Palermo.
What's wrong, Bill?
Well, we've lost contact for the moment. Reception's been pretty bad most of the day. CGRB4 calling MS Palermo.
Jimmy, have you thought what would happen if we lost contact in the middle of an operation?
You know what would happen as well as I do. Only we won't. We can't.
All right, Dr. Kildare. Page 291, illustration number 3. I've got it now. Go ahead.
Now, Steve, notice the spot on the abdomen that's labeled McBurney's Point there in the illustration. Now, that's where your incision will start. Do you see it?
McBurney's Point. Okay, Doctor.
All right. Now, the first layer of muscle runs obliquely across the abdomen. It's marked transversus abdominis.
Transversus abdominis. Right.
Make your incision about 3 inches long and parallel to the direction of the muscles. Fasten it open with retractor clamps before you go on.
Yes, sir. I understand.
The next muscle layer is called rectus abdominis. It runs vertically, so you'll make a vertical incision through it.
A vertical incision. Yes, sir.
The idea is to avoid cutting across the muscle fibers whenever possible. Now, when you've opened this second layer, put clamps on it, too.
Yes, Dr. Kildare.
Yes, Steve.
Dr. Kildare, Stand by a minute, will you?
All right.
Nelson, what's the trouble?
Captain, I can't do it.
You're the only man aboard who could possibly do it.
I'm sorry, sir. If he were hurt or something, I could give him first aid. But to cut a man open calmly and deliberately, Captain, I can't do it, and that's all.
I can't order you to do it, Nelson. I know how you feel. I couldn't do it either. Make radio contact, and we'll advise the Coast Guard in New York.
Well, that's that, Jimmy. Now what?
You know, the only answer is to be there and board that freighter. There's no other way.
Well, Jim, the Coast Guard's equipped with some pretty modern stuff, but we still don't have any guided missiles for rapid passenger service.
No, but you do have a helicopter.
Yeah, there's one out at the Long Island base.
Kildare.
And a few months ago, you used it to drop a couple of firefighters on board a burning tanker off the Virginia coast. I remember reading about it.
Now wait, Jimmy. That was in broad daylight on a calm sea, and those boys had been trained for it.
Well, it doesn't sound very complicated to me to step off a rope ladder onto the deck of a ship.
In the middle of the night, and with that ship pitching and rolling 30 degrees, it's a lot more complicated than you think.
No, Jimmy. It's too risky even to think of.
Now, look, Dr. Gillespie, don't make a production out of it. It's got to be done. So let's do it. Okay?
Oh, okay.
All right, Jim, I'll let the Palermo know and then call the base. I think Lieutenant Dane will be the best pilot for it. CGRB-4 calling MS Palermo. Come in, Palermo.
MS Palermo standing by. Go ahead, New York.
Captain Douglas, please.
Captain's right here.
Douglas speaking. Go ahead.
We're going to try landing a doctor on board by helicopter. What's your present position? Over.
Latitude 39, 31, 14 north. Longitude 68, 42, 25 west. Our course is 263 degrees, proceeding at 5 knots. Over.
Roger. Weather conditions.
Storm's clearing. The wind is down to force 5 and dropping. The swell's still bad.
Visibility?
Around 2,000 yards. After dark, though, you could probably see our searchlights for 5 or 6 miles. Over.
All right, Captain Douglas. We'll line up this end first. Stand by, Palermo.
Roger.
Let's see now. If everything goes smoothly, I ought to be on board by 10 o'clock tonight, huh?
Yeah. Then it'll take us about a half hour. Kildare.
What is it, Doctor?
At my age, I can't go hopping out of helicopters onto moving ships.
Yes, I know. Dr. Gillespie, I guess I'll just have to manage this one alone.
By the great horns.
But don't worry, though. I'll tell you all about it. Tell you everything I've done. After I've done it.
We will return to the story of Dr. Kildare in just a moment. Now we continue with the story of Dr. Kildare, starring Lou Ayres as Dr. Kildare and Lionel Barrymore as Dr. Gillespie.
Well, Kildare, there she is.
Oh? Where, Lieutenant?
Straight ahead, go to the starboard.
Oh, yeah. It's a good thing they've got that searchlight. Otherwise, it'd be tough finding the Queen Mary out here tonight.
The wind has died off somewhere. I'll drop down to 100 feet.
They're swinging the light this way, Lieutenant. They must have seen us.
Yeah. Boy, look at the size of those swells. This ain't gonna be easy, Doc.
Well, you can't always find a turkey in your soup.
Yeah. I'll be sitting up here in the cockpit, nice and cozy. You're the one that's gonna be dangling the end of that 50-foot rope ladder.
You're so right.
I guess I better crack the mic and let Frazier know we're over the ship. CG Airborne 21 to CGRB-4. CG Airborne 21 to CGRB-4.
CGRB-4 standing by. Go ahead, A21.
Bill, I'm hovering over the Palermo now, 100 feet up. Got the searchlight on us. The midship deck's all lit up. And some of the crew are out on it. I guess we're ready to have a go at it. Thought you'd like to know.
Good. How's Kildare feel?
Ask him.
Bill, suppose I tell you how I feel in about 10 minutes. Right now, I'm numb.
Yeah, I'd be too. Good luck.
Thanks.
Jimmy, can you hear me?
Well, Dr. Gillespie, now why don't you go back to the hospital and get some sleep?
Sleep? Now, look, Jimmy. Be sure you've got plenty of ether before you start the operation. And somebody there who knows how to use it.
Elementary, my dear doctor.
And another thing, Jimmy. Be sure to check for any symptom of secondary...
Sorry if that's against regulations, but this is just no time for backseat driving.
Yeah, I know, Doc. I feel the same way every time the CO tries to tell me how to fly. Well, I'm holding steady at around 60 or 70 feet over the deck. I guess the time's come. You get out through that trapdoor right behind the seat there.
All right.
I'll put you as close to the deck as I can. Maybe right on it. Can't lay to on account of this swell. Hang on to the ladder until the boys on deck say to let go. They can tell more about the roll of the ship than you can. Got it?
Right.
Okay, Kildare. Good luck.
Thanks, Larry. So long.
Doctor, don't jump until we tell you to.
Right.
Wait for the roll. Steady now. All right, jump. Watch this light first side. Talking to. He's gonna roll. Grab that ready, Doctor.
Got it.
You all right, Dr. Kildare?
Sure. I'm okay, Captain.
Close shave. Another foot and you'd been over the side. You wouldn't have had the devil's own chance of finding you.
Captain, let's not worry about what might have happened. Where's the patient?
CGRB4 calling MS Palermo. CGRB4 calling MS Palermo. Come in, Palermo. It looks like we're out of luck, Dr. Gillespie. I guess you're not going to answer.
Confound the got to answer. How do I know what Kildare's doing out there if they won't answer?
That could be Dr. Kildare's
Oh,
idea,
Parker,
you know.
shut up.
Well,
I don't see why you don't take Jimmy's advice and get some sleep. Lieutenant Dane said he landed okay, so from now on it's up to him.
Mr. Frazier, you don't know Dr. Gillespie. He simply has to have his nose and everything.
Parker, for the last time.
MS Palermo standing by for CGRB4. Go ahead, CG.
There they are.
Palermo, we'd like to speak with Dr. Kildare if we could.
Sorry, Dr. Kildare is still not available.
Not available? Well, why isn't he available?
I don't know, sir.
Confound it. You tell him that Dr. Gillespie wants to talk to him immediately.
I've given him all 8 of your messages, sir. He said he'd answer them tomorrow.
Tomorrow? By the great horn spoon.
Would you care to send another message?
Yes. Tell him to go to Blazes.
To Blazes? Is that B as in Boston? L as in...
Yes, L as in lunkhead. And you go to Blazes, too.
Yes, sir.
Palermo, that's all. Stand by.
Roger.
Dr. Gillespie, I still think you ought to go to bed and forget about it until morning.
I'll do no such thing. I'll report this to the FCC, the RFC, the Maritime Commission. I'll report it to Congress. Young nincompoop.
Well, I take it that you don't have a very high opinion of Kildare's ability, is that it?
Ridiculous. He's the best doctor in the country. Next to me, of course.
Then why don't you relax?
I told you, Mr. Frazier, Dr. Gillespie's just a born snoop, and there's nothing anybody can do about it.
Parker, so help me. When the helicopter gets back, I'm going to have him go out again and drop you.
Oh, I'd love to help, Doctor.
100 miles from the nearest ship.
That just about does it. How's his pulse, Captain Douglas?
Still steady, Dr. Kildare.
Good. Well, you can relax and clean up now, Steve. We're through.
All right, sir.
There we are.
Nice job of hem stitching, Doctor. You'd have made a good sailmaker in the old days.
Not on a ship that rolls as much as this one.
That's the worst ground swell I've ever been in. At least in this part of the Atlantic. How about the boy here? Will he pull through?
Yes, Captain. We got it in time. Barely in time, as a matter of fact. I'll stay with him until he comes out from under the anesthetic.
What about all these messages from this Dr. Gillespie? Do you want me to contact the shore station now?
Oh, I don't think there's any need to. And I don't know, though. I don't get an opportunity like this once in months. Sure. Let's go in the radio room and give him a call.
All right, sir.
Oh, Captain, if you don't mind watching him a few minutes, I'll be right back.
Take your time, Doctor. I left the transmitter on, so it's already warmed up.
Good.
MS Palermo calling CGRB4, New York. MS Palermo calling CGRB4. Come in, RB4. Dr. Kildare, I'm sorry I had to back out of doing that operation. I just couldn't.
Forget it, Steve.
And then when you trusted me to take care...
CGRB4, New York, standing by. Go ahead, Palermo.
Dr. Kildare is calling Dr. Gillespie. Is he there?
Am I here? Kildare, you listen to me.
Why, Dr. Gillespie, I thought you'd be in bed hours ago.
Never mind. Just tell me what happened.
Happened? Oh, well, for one thing, I bruised my elbow when I landed on the deck. I'll let you take a look at it when I get back.
I don't want to look at your confounded elbow. What about the operation?
Oh, that. Well, it was quite a complicated case. Very interesting, in fact.
Yeah, well, go on.
Oh, much too complicated to go into tonight.
Kildare?
I'll tell you all about it when we reach port. Day after tomorrow.
Tarnation.
Good night, Doctor. Okay, that's all, Steve.
MS Palermo signing off. Good night.
Kildare?
I'll bet he's pulling his hair out.
Confound it, Parker. Not only does he waste 2 days lolling around a ship, but now he has to be the last one down the gangplank.
Oh, just relax, Dr. Gillespie.
Relax. They brought the patient down here to the ambulance 5 minutes ago. So what's keeping Kildare?
He knows what he's doing, and he'll be here in his own sweet time.
I don't care if he never gets here. Parker, I'm through with him. Finally, absolutely, and for the last time, I'm through with him.
Through with whom, Dr. Gillespie?
Kildare, where did you come from?
The other gangplank. Ah, you're looking very well, Doctor.
Oh, thank you very much. And so are you.
Thank you.
A pleasant voyage, I trust.
Oh, yes, very pleasant. Well, back to work.
Yeah, what a pity.
Oh, I guess there isn't room for all of us to ride over in the ambulance, so why don't you go ahead, Dr. Gillespie? Parker and I'll get a taxi.
No, you don't.
Well, what's wrong with that, Dr. Gillespie?
Parker, you get in that ambulance and shut up. Don't say another word. You hear me?
Well.
Come on, Jimmy. Come on. We'll take the taxi.
Anything you say, Doctor.
All right, Jimmy. I had it coming, and I've learned my lesson.
Oh, now stop kidding me. You'll be butting in on my cases again within 24 hours, and you know it.
Well, well, anyway, this one turned out all right. Jimmy, we did it again.
We did it again?
Why, yes, you... Well, all right, confound it, you did it again.
You know something, Dr. Gillespie. I went out there alone, that's true enough. But I took something along with me.
Huh?
Yes. I took thousands of hours of experience from working with you, watching you, and learning from you. So you were right the first time. We did do it. Taxi.
In just a moment, we will return to the story of Dr. Kildare. Now, once again, the story of Dr. Kildare, starring Lou Ayres as Dr. Kildare and Lionel Barrymore as Dr. Gillespie.
Oh, Jimmy, come on in.
Oh, morning, Dr. Gillespie. Say, I was wondering if I could borrow Parker for about an hour.
Oh, sure, why not?
Is that all right with you, Parker?
Oh, of course, Dr. Kildare.
Special assignment of some kind, Jimmy?
Oh, no, just routine. Couple of new patients in for diagnosis. Parker, we may as well go now if you're free.
New patients, huh? What seems to be wrong with them?
Oh, I think it's just a checkup, nothing unusual.
You know, Jimmy, it might be a good idea if I went along with you.
Oh, well, thanks, Dr. Gillespie, but...
I might possibly notice something you wouldn't.
I see. Parker, isn't that a roll of 2-inch adhesive tape there on the table?
Why, yes, it is.
Tear off about 18 inches, will you?
All right, Dr. Kildare.
Dr. Gillespie, I think the time has come for a drastic lesson.
Drastic lesson? What do you mean, Jimmy?
You are, Dr. Kildare.
Thanks, Parker. Now, just lean back in your chair, Doctor. I want to show you something.
Show me something?
That's right. Now, close your mouth a second. There.
Why, Dr. Kildare, you've covered his mouth all over and taped his head to the back of the chair.
Don't worry, it'll do him good. Now, you sit there, Dr. Gillespie, and repeat 100 times mentally, quote, I will not poke my nose into other people's cases, unquote. We'll be back in about an hour. Come on, Parker.
You have just heard the story of Dr. Kildare, starring Lou Ayres and Lionel Barrymore. This program was written by Les Crutchfield and directed by William P. Russo. Original music was composed and conducted by Walter Schumann. Supporting cast included Virginia Gregg, Raymond Burr, Herb Ellis, Jack Crucian, and Jack Webb. Dick Joy speaking.
Thanks for listening to HOJO Radio. We have more classic radio coming your way next.
The story of Dr. Kildare.
Whatsoever house I enter, there will I go for the benefit of the sick. Whatsoever things I see or hear concerning the life of men, I will keep silence thereon, counting such things to be held as sacred trusts. I will exercise my art solely for the cure.
The story of Dr. Kildare, starring Lou Ayres and Lionel Barrymore. Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer brought you those famous motion pictures. Now this exciting, heartwarming series is heard on radio. In just a moment, the story of Dr. Kildare. But first, your announcer. Now, the story of Dr. Kildare, starring Lou Ayres as Dr. Kildare and Lionel Barrymore as Dr. Gillespie.
Blair General Hospital, one of the great citadels of American medicine. A clump of gray-white buildings planted deep in the heart of New York. The nerve center of medical progress, where great minds and skilled hands wage man's everlasting battle against death and disease. Blair General Hospital, where life begins, where life ends, where life goes on.
Of course it's your business, Jimmy, your problem. But if you tell Carew you won't do it, he'll tear his gardenia off and stamp on it with both feet.
Then look out for flying petals, Dr. Gillespie, because I'm not going to do it.
Well, now, he might stamp on you, too.
That I can't help. I've got a patient waiting in emergency, and as far as I'm concerned, that's more important than any specially conducted tour.
Not to Carew, at least not when a wealthy patron is about to make a donation.
Well, after all, that's his problem. I'm a doctor, not a promoter. Let me see.
Oh, confound it, Jimmy. After all, Carew is the superintendent of this hospital.
You? Taking his side? I don't believe it.
Well, now, I'm thinking of your career. Yeah, sure. I never played hospital politics, you know, that's true. But maybe I should have. Look where I ended up.
Mm-hmm. Only the world's greatest diagnostician. Too bad you couldn't have been a success.
Well, but there are different kinds of success. Now, you take Carew.
You take him.
All right, but come in.
Well, gentlemen.
Speak of the devil.
The devil? Oh, I really fail to see, but... Oh, there you are, Dr. Kildare.
Yes, but I'm leaving right now,
Just a moment,
Carew.
please. You do have an assignment, you know.
I know. Showing some millionaire's secretary around the operating room. Sorry, I haven't the time.
And precisely what is this case you consider so important, may I ask?
Oh, some poor fellow collapsed down the street, and they brought him in here a little while ago. He's still unconscious.
Why, it's a heart condition, obviously. The intern can deal with it.
It was the intern who called me, Dr. Carew. He's scared, and I know how he feels. Well, I'll see you later.
Dr. Kildare, I positively and absolutely forbid you to... Did you see that?
See what, Carew?
Insubordination, Dr. Gillespie. Rank insubordination.
Nonsense. Kildare has a patient waiting, that's all.
A patient? Huh. When I have a representative of Mr. Jeremiah Ramsey coming right here to this office any minute.
Not really.
Oh, yes, indeed. And I'm quite sure we can expect a $500,000 donation or more if we can show clearly the hospital needs it.
Well, I've never seen a time Blair Hospital didn't need it, or any other hospital, for that matter.
But I was counting on Dr. Kildare to, explain things. I've been away from actual practice for some time, you know, and after all, my talents do run more to administrative lines.
Yeah, heaven help the patient who ever had to depend on your medical talents.
See.
Dr. Carew, there's a Miss Mudd out here to see you.
Miss Mudd.
She says she'd like to look over the hospital.
Oh, dear.
Well, Carew, your millionaire secretary has apparently arrived.
Oh, dear. Miss Parker, please ask her to wait a few minutes.
Very well, Doctor.
Well, Carew?
Dr. Gillespie, I wonder if I could prevail on you to...
Don't look at me.
But somebody has to convince her we need that donation.
And since there are only two of us left...
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
Parker, hand me that stethoscope again, will you?
Here you are, Dr. Kildare.
Well, it certainly isn't a hot condition, as Carew calls it. You can take a look at that thermometer now.
All right, Doctor.
Good thing young Benton called me. If this had been handled as a routine
97.4.
Subnormal. Let me see now. Oh, there's a slight precipitate beginning to form here.
What do you think's wrong with him, Dr. Kildare?
But it isn't a heart attack. I wonder if he could possibly... Come in. Oh, Benson, yes.
Brought his wallet and things up from the office, Dr. Kildare. Is there any change yet?
No, none of any importance, but I think I know what's wrong. Let me see now. Yes, if I'm right, there should be... Here we are.
What is that?
If bearer is found unconscious, notify nearest physician immediately. Give no stimulants.
So that's what it is.
Uh-huh. Diabetic coma. Parker, get 20 units of insulin from the dispensary. And hurry.
And here is our number 3 operating room, Miss Mudd. After you.
Thank you, Dr. Carew.
And like the others, this room, too, is utterly inadequate.
You don't say so.
Oh, yes, indeed, utterly. As, of course, you can see for yourself.
Well, I don't know. I think you're underrating your institution, Doctor.
Oh, my dear, look, the lighting. Absolutely preposterous.
I'd say it was average. Possibly a little better.
Oh, good heavens, no. The lighting over this operating table would never pass inspection by the State Board.
Indeed.
Of course, it's nothing that a few $1,000s wouldn't take care of.
Oh, well, if that's all that's needed,
yes, Miss
then
Mudd?
I would certainly think an institution this size could manage it somehow.
Oh, well, that's only for this room, and only for the lighting. Actually, the whole hospital is in horrible condition.
Oh, Dr. Carew, you must be exaggerating.
Exaggerating? My dear Miss Mudd, do you realize that our equipment is so obsolete, our supplies so limited, that we're unable to maintain even the minimum sanitary standard required by law?
What?
Oh, yes.
Shocking. Dr. Carew, I have never been so amazed in my life. Tell me more.
Oh, come in, Jimmy, come in. How's your emergency patient?
Oh, I think he's out of danger now. He's diabetic, you know.
Oh, coma, huh?
Mm-hmm. I gave him the regular insulin and a balanced shot of protamine zinc. Benton's staying with him, and I'm going back later. I suppose Carew was a little put out.
Only to the extent of turning pale pink and calling it rank insubordination.
He'll probably tear my insignia off in front of the assembled staff.
Jimmy, you've got to learn to take these things more seriously.
Oh?
Well, true enough, Carew is an imbecilic nincompoop.
Granted.
But nevertheless, he can do you a lot of harm professionally.
Look, Dr. Gillespie, you know I went into medicine for several reasons, but mainly just because it's the best way I know of helping people. And as far as I'm concerned, the only professional harm that could happen to me would be to change that idea.
Kildare, that's rank idealism.
You know where I learned it.
If you mean from me, that's different. I've been at this hospital since time immemorial, so I can afford to be a cantankerous rebel. You can't.
Maybe not. But I still believe the first consideration in medicine always is the welfare of the patient.
Yeah, sure, I agree with you, but...
Oh, I know the hospital needs money, too, and unfortunately a big part of it has to come from donations. Okay. But I still think...
I have no argument with you at all. You're absolutely right. But confound it, why can't you be a little more diplomatic with Carew?
You really mean that?
Well, of course. Pull his whiskers. I don't care what you do.
Well, I'm back, Dr. Gillespie, in case you need me.
Parker, every time you're away for an hour, I'm reminded just how little I do need you for anything.
Well...
You'd make a good, horrible example for Carew's sales talk. Why, Miss Mudd would take one look at
Miss
you and...
Mudd?
Quite a name, isn't it?
And Carew thinks that she's a representative from his wealthy patron?
Why, yes.
Come on, Dr. Gillespie, before it's too late. We've got to find Carew.
Oh, yes, gentlemen. Miss Mudd just left, went out to lunch. She'll be back later, of course. She was most impressed by the things I told her.
Yeah, imagine she was. Well, Kildare?
Just what kind of things did you tell her, Dr. Carew?
Well, now, of course, I may have gilded the lily just a bit, overemphasized the rundown condition of our equipment, even hinted at slight irregularities in our ethical standards due to lack of funds, but all in a good cause, Dr. Kildare, if I may take occasion to remind you.
I see. Then I take it you're entirely satisfied with what you've accomplished. Feel now that it's just as well I didn't talk to this woman.
Well, far be it from me, Dr. Kildare, but I really do doubt that you could have done quite as good a job of selling.
Go on, Kildare. Slip in the business. I can't wait.
Slip me the business?
Dr. Carew, you'd better hang on to something. You see, Miss Mudd is not who you think.
She's not? Well, then, who is? I mean, where is Mr. Ramsey's representative?
Well, it sounds very much as though he's the man I've had waiting downstairs in the lobby all morning.
What?
Anyway, Mr. Grunion sent word up that he wanted to look over the hospital.
And you kept him waiting all morning? We're ruined. Absolutely ruined.
Oh, that isn't the worst of it, Dr. Carew. There's still Miss Mudd.
Oh, dear, I'd forgotten her.
And apparently you've also forgotten the announcement of her appointment a few months ago. She's one of the new examiners for the State Board of Hospitals.
Really? Well, in that case, I suppose I better... Oh, heaven help me.
Yeah, you'll need help from somewhere.
But you don't realize all the things I told her.
We can imagine.
I said we were violating sanitary regulations, ignoring fire codes, paying no attention whatsoever to institutional law, and... Good heavens.
Carew, stop spinning.
But we're ruined. Absolutely ruined.
Oh, I don't think it's that serious. She'll make a report to the Board of Regents. They'll throw you out, of course.
Throw me out?
But after that, things should settle back to normal.
Normal, you say? Normal? Huh. I won't see anyone. I won't see anyone.
Dr. Carew, get a hold of yourself.
Cast aside like an old shoe, and my poor wife, she just ordered new drapes for the dining room.
Fine. Be nice for the new superintendent.
After all the years I've given to Blair Hospital, the best years of my life, Oh, Dr. Kildare, it's all your fault.
My fault? Now, really?
Sorry to butt in, fellas, but I got kind of tired of waiting down there. My name's Grunion.
Mr. Grunion, I just now learned of the atrocious treatment you were given this morning, and I want to offer you, nay, beg you to accept my abject apologies and humble assurances.
Carew, stop licking Mr. Grunion's boots.
What's wrong with him? One of the mental cases?
Oh, no. Dr. Carew is our former superintendent.
You're kidding.
No, really. You see, he takes the patient's trouble so much to heart that sometimes it's just too much for him.
Now,
Mr. Grunion, if you don't mind waiting outside, I'm sure he'll be all right in a few minutes.
But I've been waiting up.
Well, now, what are we going to do?
Carew, you're a fathead.
No, dear.
We return to the story of Dr. Kildare in just a moment. Now we continue with the story of Dr. Kildare, starring Lou Ayres as Dr. Kildare and Lionel Barrymore as Dr. Gillespie.
What a morning.
Yeah, things have been a little hectic, all right.
Dr. Gillespie, I'll give you 10 to 1. We made a mistake in letting Carew go off alone with that Mr. Onion or Grunion or whatever his name is.
Well, I don't know how we could have stopped him, Jimmy, without locking him up.
I guess not. He's all set to die for dear old Blair. To make one last gesture and hand over $500,000 along with his resignation.
Ah, the idiot.
Well, I've never seen anyone else in my life who could blunder into as many ways of doing the wrong thing.
He's a biological paradox, the only example known to medical science of a living human being born without a brain.
What on earth are you talking about, Dr. Gillespie?
My mistake, Jimmy. He is one of two examples. Well, what do you want, Parker?
You don't have to shout at me.
I don't even have to put up with you.
Well,
It's all right, Parker. He just has another mild case of Carew-initis.
Carew and what?
Never mind. How's the diabetic in 508?
He's conscious now. That's what I came to let you know.
Good.
Dr. Benton said to tell you that he's responding normally and can probably have something to eat about 2:30.
Fine. I'll drop by to see him right after lunch. Which, by the way, is a good idea. Well, my dear doctor, shall we go across to Sullivan's and risk ptomaine poisoning again?
No, you go ahead, Jimmy. You go on. I've got a halfway idea how we might straighten out the blunders Carew made when he talked to Miss Mudd.
Now, wait a minute. You're not starting to come up with brilliant schemes, too.
Well, no, something has to be done.
All right. Tell her the truth.
Ah, it isn't quite that simple.
It could be.
You just leave it to me, Jimmy. Now, 10 minutes conversation, I'll have everything all fixed up.
That's exactly what I'm afraid of. Parker?
Huh?
Parker, I'd like your opinion about something.
Oh, why, of course, Dr. Kildare.
Tell me, what do you think of a man who's prone to go off on tangents and violate his own principles?
If you're talking about who I think you are, well...
A man who has repeatedly claimed that a staff doctor should concern himself only with the medical affairs of the hospital and should stay away from the...
Fiddle-faddle, I think that's what he'd say.
Yes, stay away from the fiddle-faddle. Thanks, Parker.
Fiddle-faddle.
And then when you find that man doing exactly the opposite from what he believes, well, how can you explain it?
Well, I guess you just can't, Dr. Kildare, unless, of course, he was born without a brain.
Born without a... Parker, you get out of here. Go on, get...
All right. There are times when I wish he'd been born without vocal cords.
Parker! Confounded tarnation.
It's insubordination, Doctor. Rank insubordination. Well, give my regards to Carew when you get out on that same limb with him. I'm going to lunch.
Oh, yes, indeed, Mr. Grunion. The lighting over this operating table is completely inadequate. You see?
Well, now, I don't know, Dr. Carew. It looks all right to me.
Oh, my dear sir, it's frightful. Really frightful. Of course, it's nothing that a few $1,000s wouldn't take care of.
A few $1,000s,
That's only for the lights, and only in this one room.
I see. Well, it sounds like the place is in pretty bad shape.
Of course, $500,000 isn't really very much to a wealthy and generous philanthropist.
No, I suppose not. You know, Dr. Carew, I'm frankly amazed. I had no idea the conditions were so bad here at Blair.
Mr. Grunion, you've only heard the beginning. Just wait until I get through.
Dr. Gillespie, do you mean to say that you went without your lunch and waited here for me to get back in order to tell me that?
Well, now, I think the information is fairly important, Miss Mudd. And, of course, it'd be impossible to tell you in front of him.
I see. Well, I imagine it might have been a good deal more shocking if I weren't partly prepared for it already. I suppose you are quite sure.
Oh, yes, of course. Ordinarily, he's quite normal, but he does have these spells when he gets nuttier than a walnut grove. Of course, we've all known about it all these years, you know.
Well, shouldn't something be done about it? I mean, after all, the superintendent of a big hospital like this...
Oh, he's perfectly harmless, yes,
Oh.
yes. The only symptom is that pessimism you saw this morning. He thinks the whole place is falling to ruin when actually it's running at the top efficiency.
Amazing. Dr. Gillespie, do you know that this is the most remarkable institution I have ever seen?
Good afternoon, Benson. How's our patient?
Well, Dr. Kildare...
Young man, I'm quite capable of answering the question for myself.
Oh, you apparently are. Feeling all right, eh?
I haven't felt better since my 62nd birthday. Thanks to you, so I'm told.
Oh, well, you've been told wrong. Dr. Benton's your physician. I'm only a consultant in the case.
Thanks to both of you, then.
Dr. Kildare, if you're going to be here a while, I think I'll grab some lunch.
Sure, go ahead.
His response has been completely normal. I gave him 10 more units at 1 o'clock and ordered a standard DB lunch. It's due now.
All right, Benton. See you later.
Talk about a man like he's a dad-blamed specimen under a microscope.
Oh, but you're a live specimen, at least.
Yeah, good point. Very good point.
Of course, you won't be long if you go around skipping your insulin shots very often.
Well, a man gets careless at my age.
I know.
Worse than that, gets to be a dad-blamed fool. You wouldn't know.
Oh, well, I'd say you're a long way from being a fool.
Flattery, that's all. You a staff doctor here?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Getting rich at it, imagine.
Oh, yes. I have a private annex at Fort Knox.
Young man, suppose I hadn't been a half block from a hospital when this happened.
Oh, but you were, so why suppose?
Yes, imagination is bad business. Have lunch with me, young fellow. Always hate to eat alone.
Sure, I'll have a cup of coffee. I like to watch a convalescent patient eat. It means he's recovering.
It means you'll get rid of him that much quicker, too. You know something, young man? I think we understand each other.
You know something else? I think I agree with you.
Well, Dr. Kildare, come in.
Dr. Carew, Dr. Gillespie, what are we holding here? Council of War or victory celebration?
Jimmy, it worked like a charm, just as I told you it would.
I see. Where are the sacrificial victims?
Mr. Grunion is making a phone call at the moment.
Miss Mudd's gone after some forms to be signed.
Dr. Gillespie is being coy, you know. He won't tell me what he said to her, but it must have been effective.
I'll bet it was.
And, of course, Mr. Grunion is thoroughly so.
I suppose you gave him the same story you told Miss Mudd earlier today.
Oh, an even better one the second time. Everything is just wonderful, Dr. Kildare. Why, I'm even inclined to forgive your little peccadillo.
Thank you very much, Dr. Carew.
Oh, well, come in, Miss Mudd.
I'll just leave these with you, and you can mail them in.
Oh, Miss Mudd, I don't believe you've met...
Oh, hello, Dr. Kildare.
How are you, Miss Mudd?
You know each other?
We met at lunch over at Sullivan's.
Yes, we had a very interesting conversation. In fact, that's the only reason I'm giving the hospital a clean bill of health, so to speak.
What?
You see, Dr. Kildare told me the whole story. And after all, Dr. Carew, I couldn't see any of those terrible conditions you tried to point out.
Do you mean you already talked to Kildare when I was telling you about Carew being a mental case?
Dr. Gillespie.
Oh, yes, but I thought it was so cute to let you go on with it.
Cute?
Well, I suppose I really should go.
Sorry to keep you waiting, gentlemen.
Well, Mr. Grunion.
Well, Miss Mudd, imagine meeting you here.
You two know each other.
Oh, yes, we met at the medical convention in Albany a few weeks ago.
Yes, we did. Yes, indeed. Yes.
Well, Mr. Grunion, I do hope you'll be able to convince Mr. Ramsey of our needs.
Ramsey? Who's Mr. Ramsey?
Why, he's your, Mr. Grunion, who in heaven's name are you?
Field representative for the Pan Acme Hospital Insurance Plan.
Oh, dear.
We had considered putting Blair Hospital on our preferred list.
Oh, dear.
But, of course, that's out now that I've learned about conditions.
Oh, dear.
Mr. Grunion, I think the boys have been giving you a rib. Maybe I can straighten the whole thing out.
Well, I do respect your opinion, Miss Mudd.
Well, come on, then. Let's go find a quiet spot and reminisce about Albany. See you again soon, Dr. Kildare.
I hope so. Goodbye, Miss Mudd.
Dr. Kildare, I hardly know what to say.
Carew, I think we both said too much already.
Well, since everything seems to be taken care of, I guess I'll just get back to work.
There's only one thing. I'd so counted on that donation from Mr. Ramsey. I wonder what could have happened to his...
Ramsey? Oh, Dr. Carew, I almost forgot. Mr. Ramsey should have all the arrangements completed and a check deposited to the hospital account by, the end of the week.
What?
Dr. Kildare, how do you know?
He told me a little while ago, as soon as he recovered from his diabetic coma.
Oh, no.
You mean that emergency patient in 508, the one that you... Oh, dear.
He seems to be highly impressed by our efficiency and our concern for the welfare of the patients. Maybe overly impressed.
I must go lie down. I must go and take an aspirin or something. Oh, dear.
Well, then, Jimmy.
Oh, Dr. Gillespie, I was just lucky.
Confounded.
Oh, now, don't say it.
But I... All right.
In just a moment, we will return to the story of Dr. Kildare. And now, once again, the story of Dr. Kildare, starring Lou Ayres as Dr. Kildare and Lionel Barrymore as Dr. Gillespie.
Dr. Gillespie, I've got all these forms filled out now for the State Hospital Board. If you'd like to sign them, we'll get them sent off.
Love to sign them, Jimmy. I hope you've included our best regards to Miss Mudd.
Oh, yes, enclosed a personal note.
Personal, huh? I hope you asked her to say hello to Mr. Grunion just in passing. Maybe at some Albany convention.
I mentioned his name.
Good. Well, here you are. And may they both rest in peace.
Allowing for your exaggerated metaphors, I guess I agree with you. A mix-up like that once a year is plenty.
Dr. Gillespie, there's a Mr. Beetlepuss here to see you.
Beetlepuss? Never heard of him, Parker.
Well, he says he wants to look over the hospital. Dr. Kildare, what are you doing under that desk? Dr. Gillespie, get down off that coat rack.
Parker, why does he want to look over the hospital?
Well, because he works for the phone company, and he has to know where the new telephones are supposed to go.
Jimmy, you go with him.
Not me, Parker. Take Mr. Beetlepuss upstairs and introduce him to Dr. Carew.
You have just heard the story of Dr. Kildare, starring Lou Ayres and Lionel Barrymore. This program was written by Les Crutchfield and directed by William P. Russo. Original music was composed and conducted by Walter Schumann. Supporting cast included Virginia Gregg, Ted Osborne, Isabel Jewell, Will Wright, and Wilms Herbert. Dick Joy speaking.
Our next broadcast is a radio mystery drama which ran from May 16th, 1942 until September 27th, 1955 on CBS Radio Network. The show was also broadcast in Chicago and over Armed Forces Radio. On the West Coast, it was sponsored by the Signal Oil Company. That whistle is your signal for the Signal Oil program. The program was also adapted into a film noir series by Columbia Pictures in 1944. Each episode began with the sound of footsteps and a person whistling. The haunting signature theme tune was composed by Wilbert Hatch and featured Dorothy Roberts whistling with an orchestra. We present to you The Whistler on HOJO Radio.
Wait a minute. Have you heard the strange tales of the Whistler?
I'm the Whistler.
I didn't steal the money. I just wanted to use it for a few days. I was going to put it back, but things went wrong. Now there's going to be a change of ownership. That means an early audit.
Sunday night, and again, CBS presents The Whistler.
The Whistler know many things, for I walk by night. I know many strange tales, many secrets hidden in the hearts of men and women who have stepped into the shadows. And so I tell you tonight the tale of the accounting. Tom Bradford is a middle-aged rancher living a few miles out of town. Tom has married a widow with a grown son named Ralph, who is inclined to be shiftless and lazy. Tom resents this because times are difficult and he's short of help. He further resents the fact that the boy has married a girl from the town and brought her to live with them. They've been here for 2 months now, and Tom has grown crabby and unpleasant.
You know the way conditions are, Mary. Just can't get any help in this ranch. It's too much for me to handle alone.
I know, Tom, but Ralph doesn't know anything about a ranch. Ralph was raised in the city.
He can learn, but he's too lazy. All he does is sit around and read magazines.
But he's a delicate sort of boy. He always has been.
Well, let him go out and do a little work and he won't be so delicate. You've made a baby out of him.
I've done no such thing. If Ralph were able to help you, I'd be the first one to ask him to do it.
Oh, if he amounted to anything, he wouldn't have to be asked. I wish the Army would take him.
They deferred him because he wasn't strong enough.
Well, he's not too weak to do a little something around here. And that wife of his, that Vera, she's worse than he is. She could do something. All she does is dress herself up in baby Ralph's.
She loves him.
Never washes a dish because it might ruin her hands. She can't cook. She can't do a thing. I don't like her.
I think Vera's a nice girl.
And I can do without her being here.
You mean you don't want her here?
That's exactly what I mean.
But if she left, that would mean that... Why, Ralph wouldn't stay here without Vera.
Then they can both go.
Do you know what you're saying? Ralph is my son.
I don't care who he is. He can get out and shift for himself. And take that scheming little brat of a wife with him.
Oh, you're just upset, Tom. You'll feel different about things in a few days. You must try to control yourself.
Mary, before they came here, you and I got along very nicely. But since they've come, we've had nothing but arguments and hard feelings. Ralph and Vera are constantly stirring up trouble. Naturally, you take Ralph's side. You can't see his faults because you're his mother. But at the same time, you're his worst enemy.
Tom, how can you say such a thing?
I know what I'm talking about, and I've made up my mind they've got to go.
Go where? What will they do?
Well, let Ralph figure it out. Let him get a job.
A job? What can he do?
A lot of things. He's not that helpless.
Oh, but Tom, please, you don't understand.
I understand, all right, and that's final. He and Vera can get out in the morning.
Very well. I'll tell them. And perhaps I should go, too. Is that what you want?
Oh, now, don't be ridiculous, Mary. I didn't say that.
I thought you loved me. I never dreamed you could be like this.
I'm not being mean, Mary, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. You going to tell them, or shall I?
Yes, Tom, I'll tell them.
Very well. I'm very tired. Good night, Mary.
Yes?
Ralph, darling, it's Mother. May I come in?
Oh, yes, Mother.
Sorry to disturb you so late, but I have to talk to you and Vera.
Oh, yeah? What's the matter?
Well, It's about Tom.
What about him?
Well, I don't know how to say it.
Say what? What's wrong with him?
I don't know. He just isn't himself. You know how terribly upset he's been lately.
Yeah.
But he doesn't understand, Ralph. He just doesn't understand.
Understand what?
He doesn't understand you. You and Vera.
What's wrong with me?
Nothing, Vera. It's just Tom. He's in one of those spells. He doesn't like anything or anybody.
You mean he saw it?
Yes, Ralph. He's terribly upset.
Well, what have I done?
Well, he thinks you're lazy. He's angry because you won't help him around the ranch.
What? Oh, that's silly. What do I know about a ranch? Nothing.
I told him that, but he said you could learn.
Well, I wouldn't last half a day doing this kind of work. I'm not the type.
He's terribly unreasonable. He refuses to see it that way.
Well, to heck with him, then.
I'm lazy, too. Is that what he thinks?
Yes, Vera. I'm terribly sorry and embarrassed.
We aren't farmers. I'm not going to let Vera tend those confounded chickens, and I'm not going to milk any cows.
Ralph.
What does he think I am?
Please, Ralph, don't get excited.
Well, if he feels that way about me, I'll get out.
What? You'll do no such thing. We'll stay right here till I get ready to leave.
Ralph, darling, Tom wants you to leave in the morning.
What? Well, of all the nerve. This is your house, too, isn't it?
Yes, but, Ralph, if you stay here, you'll have to work, and I don't want you to have to do that. You couldn't stand it. It wouldn't be good for you.
What? You mean you want us to leave?
No, I don't want you to. But I've thought it all over, and I think you'd better go into town. But don't worry, I'll see that you get along all right.
Oh, how? I'll have to get a job.
Well, maybe you can find something to do, something light.
What a fine mess.
I'm sorry, darling. But you better go in the morning.
Go? I wouldn't stay around here another day.
Well, I know bookkeeping. Maybe I could get a job in the bank. That isn't such hard work.
No, but don't worry, darling.
I won't.
Good night.
The next morning after breakfast, Ralph and Vera leave the ranch and go into town. A few days later, Ralph obtains a job in the bank. Then, after a month or so, he is promoted from the adding machine to the teller's cage. Now, 2 months more have passed, and the young teller in the next cage steps into Ralph's compartment.
Busy, Ralph?
Huh? Oh, well, no, Herb. I was just...
How are things going?
All right, Herb.
Yeah? Seem to be having some trouble, Ralph.
Trouble? What do you mean?
Oh, I don't know. You looked a little worried. I thought maybe you were having a bit of difficulty making things balance.
What do you mean? I'm not having any trouble. What gave you that idea?
Well, I've been off a few cents a couple of times, and believe me, I know what it means. Why, I've worked all night, several times, trying to find what happened to 2 cents. I know how it feels.
Yeah? Did you find it?
Well, I didn't find the 2 cents, but I found the error in my figures.
Well, I haven't found the error in my figures.
Haven't you? Well, that's good.
What would be wrong with my books?
Why, Didn't say anything would be wrong. Well, I just thought you looked a bit worried. Thought maybe I could help you.
I don't need any help. I'm quite able to take care of my responsibilities.
Good. Glad to hear it. By the way, have you heard the news?
What news?
This bank is being taken over by a system and is to become one of its branches. You know what that means?
No, what's it mean?
It means a complete audit before the end of this month. That isn't very far away. About 15 days.
Yeah?
I just thought you would want everything in order. I know I would.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the information.
You're welcome, Ralph.
For a few moments, Ralph stands in a stupor. Perspiration stands out in large beads on his forehead. For the next hour, he studies over his books frantically. Then, when closing time comes, he rushes home.
Hello, darling. Oh, you have no idea how much I've missed you all day.
Yeah?
Kiss me.
Yeah.
What's the matter with you?
Nothing.
Well, I'm certainly disappointed.
What about?
You come in like this with a long face and look at the lovely dinner I fixed for you.
I'm not very hungry, Vera. I got a headache.
Oh, poor darling. You eat something and then I'll rub your head for you.
No, I don't want anything. Leave me alone, please.
Ralph, what on earth is wrong with you?
Nothing's wrong with me. Shut up.
How dare you talk to me like that? Who do you think you are?
I'm sorry, darling. I'm just upset. I'm all on edge.
What about?
Just my nerves.
It's more than nerves. Why don't you tell me what's happened?
Who said anything had happened?
I can tell. Have you lost your job?
No.
Is that fellow you lost $50 to in that poker game threatening you? Is that it?
Look, Vera, I'm in a spot. I don't know what to do. The bank is changing hands, and there'll be an audit before the end of the month.
Well, what of it? What's that to do with the poker player?
Oh, nothing. I paid him off, but it wasn't $50.
Wasn't 50? What was it?
$2,000.
$2,000?
I didn't lose it all at once, but I tried to make back what I'd lost, and I only got in deeper.
Then if you lost $2,000, how did you pay him off?
I borrowed it from the bank.
How could you borrow $2,000 from the bank?
I took it.
What?
Yes, but I was sure I could put it back before the end of the month. Now I'm worried. I don't know what to do. If I don't put it back before the audit, I'll get caught and sent to prison.
Where are we going to get $2,000?
I don't know, but there must be some way, some place to get it.
How about your mother? She'd give it to you. Tom has money.
He doesn't like us.
No? Well, maybe we could make him like it. At least we could try. Let's drive over there. This is Saturday afternoon, and next Monday is a legal holiday. Let's drive over and see what we can do.
All right. Least we can do is try. We'll go.
Ralph and Vera drive to the ranch. And as they go up to the porch, they hear Tom arguing in a loud voice with another man just around the corner of the house. They slip to the edge of the porch and listen.
All right. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I've given you all the time I can, Miller. You've been on that piece of land for 2 years now, and you haven't paid $1 beyond the down payment.
I've tried my best to make it pay. I've worked hard.
Oh, you haven't done a thing. You know what you are? You're just one of those lazy subsistence farmers. Just throwing up to eat and let it go at that.
That's a lie, Brett.
Oh, is it? I'm foreclosing tomorrow. Got a lot of money tied up in that land, and I need it.
Well, so have I. Every cent I have is there.
I want you out of there by tomorrow.
But look here. My wife is sick. I can't leave now. I won't.
Oh, can't you? Won't you? Well, you'd better be out by noon, Miller.
Well, you just try it. I guess as soon as kids look at you.
What did you say? Get out of here.
Get out of here! I'll go. But you just remember what I said.
Well, what do you think of that?
Come on. Let's go on in and talk to your mother.
Tom's going to have a stroke one of these days. He's been warned about those fits of temper.
Might be a good thing for everybody if something did happen to him.
Yeah? Maybe so.
Oh, hello, Ralph, darling. I didn't expect you down today.
He has an extra day off, so we thought we'd come down.
Did you hear Tom arguing with that fellow Miller just now?
Yes, I heard them.
Well, Tom better not play around with Millie. He's a tough-looking customer.
Tom gets worse every day. He rants and raves at the least little thing. Hasn't spoken to me civilly for weeks. I can't stand it here any longer. I'm glad you came because I'm going back with you.
Going back? Leaving Tom?
I've got to. He's unbearable.
Oh, but, Mother, you can't leave him. That is, not just now.
Why not?
Well, you've got to put up with him for a while longer because
Why don't you tell her, Ralph?
Ralph, what is it? What's happened?
Ralph is in trouble. He needs some money.
Oh, darling, what's happened? Tell Mother.
Well, I borrowed some money from the bank. I have to pay it back before the end of the month.
How much?
$2,000.
What? Good heavens. Well, if you can't pay it back now, they'll have to extend it. They can't do anything else.
Oh, yes, they can.
They'll send him to jail.
You see, they didn't know I borrowed it.
Ralph, darling. You mean you stole it?
No, I didn't steal it. I was just wanted it for a few days. I was going to pay it back, but things went wrong, and now there's going to be a change of ownership. That means an audit.
He's got to have the money right away.
But what can I do? I haven't any...
You've got to get it from Tom. You've got to.
But Tom needs every cent he has to hold on to this place.
Well, you can ask him. You've got to do something. Do you want Ralph to go to the penitentiary?
Good heavens, no.
Then hurry up and talk to him.
But what'll I say?
Oh, you'll think of something. Go on in and talk to him.
But do you think this is the time?
Well, I'm desperate. I need that money in one way or another. I'm going to get it.
Oh, yes. Yes, darling. Don't get excited. It isn't good for you. I'll talk to him now.
He just came in the back way. We'll wait in here.
Yes, all right. Oh, Tom, look at your face. It's flaming red.
Huh?
You shouldn't let yourself get so worked up over things.
Miller's a lazy, good-for-nothing fool. Well, he knows I mean business. He'd better be gone by tomorrow noon.
Oh, he'll go. Don't worry.
Huh. You even threatened to kill me.
Please, Tom, forget about it. Come on, dear, sit down. Your lunch is ready.
Don't really need that land. Just that I can't tolerate shiftless, irresponsible people. And place is worth $5,000. Miller paid $750 down, been on it 2 years, and hasn't made a dime since.
Tom, dear, I need some money.
Yes? Well, that's not unusual. Hand me the checkbook. By the way, I've got a list of things you can get from me in town. How much do you want, Mary?
I want to borrow some money, Tom.
Since when do you have to borrow money?
Well, I want to borrow it.
Well, that's ridiculous. Borrow it. Now, how much do you want?
$2,000.
$2,000? Are you crazy?
No, Tom, I need $2,000.
What could you possibly need that would cost that much? You certainly have everything that... Wait a minute. What are you getting at, Mary?
Please, Tom. Please lend it to me. I'll pay it back, I promise.
How? Just how would you pay it back? You have no earning capacity.
Well, I know, but Ralph has. He could
Ralph?
pay...
I thought it was something like that. What's he got up his sleeve?
He needs $2,000 right away.
Oh, he does. Well, what for? What's he done?
Why, nothing, but he has an opportunity to... Well, it's a business proposition.
Do you expect me to believe that? What's he done? Something at the bank?
He's... Well...
Quit stalling. Did he borrow from the bank and forget to tell them about it?
Yes. Oh, Tom, please. Please let me have it. They might send him to jail.
Jail? Oh, no, not Ralph. He couldn't stand it.
Please, Tom, please. He's so young. He didn't realize what he was doing.
Let him go to jail. Maybe they'll teach him that the world wasn't made for him alone.
Oh, you don't mean that, Tom.
Don't I? I knew he was no good from the first day he came here, and that snip of Avera's worse. She probably put him up to it.
Please help us, Tom, please.
I wouldn't give a dime to help him. He belongs in jail. As far as I'm concerned, that's just where he'll go.
Oh, Tom, please. Tom, listen to me. Oh, Ralph, darling. He refused. He won't help me.
I heard him, the stingy old crab.
So he doesn't like me, eh? Well, he should know what I think about him. I could stick a knife between his ribs. And, well...
Yeah? You really could?
Yes.
What are you saying? What are you thinking?
Nothing, Mother, nothing. I'm just thinking Tom isn't in very good health. He ought to be careful about those rages. He's likely to die in one of those spells.
Yes. That would be too bad.
Has Tom any living relatives?
No.
Well, I hope for your sake, Mother, that he's kept up on that insurance policy.
But he has.
Let's see now. How much was that? $50,000, wasn't it?
Yes.
That's a lot of money. Oh. But we mustn't talk like this. Mother would feel terrible if Tom should... Well, after all, he's her husband. She loves him.
Yes. Yes, of course.
But you'll have to face it sooner or later. He's getting along in years.
On the other hand, he may live a long time yet. Who knows?
Yeah. I'd be afraid of that Miller after the threats we heard him make.
Ralph, darling,
Yes, Mother? What were you going to say?
Nothing. I wasn't going to say anything.
Come on, Vera. Let's get our things out of the car.
Tom goes into town and arranges for the eviction papers to be served on Miller. He returns late that evening and goes straight to bed. The night passes and morning comes. Tom, being an outdoor man, is usually up before sunrise. But this morning, only Mary, Ralph, and Vera appear for breakfast. Finally, Mary, becoming worried, goes to Tom's room and knocks. He does not answer. She opens the door and screams in horror. There on the bed lies Tom, stabbed in the heart.
Well, he's been dead since about midnight. Bedroom window was open, but we can't find the weapon.
Why, he probably took it with him, Sheriff.
Who?
Well, that fellow Miller. He must have done it.
How do you know that?
Well, he was here yesterday afternoon, and he and Tom had a terrific argument. Tom was evicting him, and Miller threatened to kill Tom.
Anybody else hear him say that?
Yes. I heard him.
So did I.
Yeah, then it looks like Miller's our man. We'll get over there right away before he has a chance to skip. Come on, Bill.
Oh, Ralph. Ralph, darling.
No, well, you better go to your room and try to rest.
Yes, Ralph.
Certainly hope they catch Miller. Do you think they can pin it on him? Without any evidence?
Well, certainly. You heard what the sheriff said. Miller's threat's all they need. You think Miller did it, don't you?
Why, of course I do. What a silly question.
When the sheriff arrives, he finds that Miller has gone. They put out a search for him. Now, Ralph is back at the bank, in the cage next to Hurd.
Well, Ralph, they haven't found that fellow Miller yet.
No? Well, they'll find her.
Do you really think it was Miller who killed your stepfather?
Well, of course I do. He threatened to kill him. 3 of us heard him.
Well, sometimes people say things that they never mean to carry out.
Well, you should have heard him. He meant it.
Maybe he did. But that doesn't mean he did it.
What are you talking about?
Oh, I was just thinking.
Yeah?
Circumstantial evidence is an awful thing sometimes.
How do you mean?
Well, so many people have been convicted on a mere word, a mere nothing. People hear a person say something, and by the time they repeat it in court, they enlarge on it a dozen times. I remember a fellow who worked here. In fact, in your cage.
What about him?
Well, he used to play poker quite a bit. And one night he made a haul, won $400 or $500, and went flashing his roll around town and boasting.
So what? What's wrong with that?
Well, he went into the drugstore and started showing off, and when the old druggist asked him where he got all of that money, he kiddingly remarked that he had robbed the bank. Well, that got around and finally took on a serious tone. They checked up here at the bank, and sure enough, there was a $500 shortage. And even though his pals swore that he'd won it in the game, they convicted him on his statement and set him up.
Well, maybe he did steal it.
He had the opportunity. I have. And you have.
Yeah? Well, is he still in the pen?
No, he was lucky. He got out after 5 years.
How'd he get out?
He was exonerated. Another teller confessed to it later. They sent him up and let the other kid out.
Oh, he was lucky. 5 years, huh?
Yep. It's a long time. It'd be a shame if Miller were convicted in the same way, and then they later found out that he was innocent. Wouldn't it?
Yeah, but he did it. He had the motive, the opportunity. He said he'd do it.
Well, he may not have been the only one with the motive.
It's after 3. I'm going to run along. See you in the morning, Herb.
So long.
Ralph grabs his hat, his face tense with anxiety as he hurries down the street to his car. He drives quickly to the ranch and enters the house. Standing in the middle of the room is the sheriff.
Hello, Ralph. You're just in time.
What? In time? How long have you been here?
Just drove up a second before you did.
Well, what do you want? Did you find Miller?
No, not yet, but they will.
Oh. Well, you certainly got a case against him, all right. He won't have a chance.
I wanted to ask you and your mother and your wife a few more questions.
Well, all right. What do you want to know?
We got a message from someone in town saying that Miller was seen at the gas station about 7 o'clock on the night Tom Bradford was killed.
Well, so what? Maybe it was.
We checked with the attendant. He said Miller had his car packed, had his family, and headed out of town in the opposite direction.
Well, maybe he circled around and then came back.
No. He couldn't have done that.
Why not?
Because he wouldn't have had time. He was seen in the next town an hour later, still headed east. He wouldn't have had time to get that far if he'd circled back here. See what I mean?
Yeah, I see. But he must have come back.
Not unless he flew, and that isn't probable.
But there must be some explanation. He must have gotten here some way. Maybe he killed him earlier. Maybe that's it.
Say, that's right.
No. We can figure the time of death closer than that. It was near midnight. That's definite.
I see. Well, who told you about this? Who sent you this message?
We don't know. It was printed with a pencil and mailed in town.
Yeah? Is that all it said?
Well, no. There was more to it.
Huh? What else?
Oh, there's always cranks butting into cases like this. Amateur detectives are always getting hunches, and, they're seldom ever right.
Well, what did it say?
I'll tell you. Calm down.
Yes, Ralph, take it easy.
Oh, yes, darling, don't be so upset. It isn't good for you.
Well?
It said that the real murderer would probably be found in the immediate household of Tom Bradford.
What?
And since we haven't found the weapon, we might check over the house.
I never heard of such a thing.
That's the biggest bunch of nonsense I ever heard of. Why, my mother loved Tom Bradford. So did I, so did Vera. He was like a father to us.
Please, Ralph, don't shout so.
Well, my partner's been looking over the place while we've been talking. But I imagine that he'll find...
Just a minute. I hate to bother you right now, but, Here you are, Sheriff. Take a look at this.
Well, a knife.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently covered with blood.
That's right. I found it in Mrs. Bradford's room. Right under the mattress.
What? Well, how did it get there?
Yes, Mrs. Bradford. How did it get there?
I put it there. Afterward.
Mother, what are you saying? You're out of your mind.
Did you kill your husband?
Yes, I killed him.
No, she did not. She couldn't.
I killed him, and I had a good reason. I hated him. He was cruel to me, and he hated Ralph. I couldn't stand it any longer, so I killed him.
She's lying. She didn't do it.
She ought to know. We know Miller didn't do it.
You can't do this, Mother. I know what you're trying to do.
What's she doing?
She's trying to protect me. She thinks I did it.
Thinks you did it?
Mother, do you realize what this means? Tell him the truth. Tell him.
I did it. I killed him. The knife is from my own kitchen. I did it, and I'm glad.
She's crazy. She couldn't have done
Why
it.
not?
Because I killed him. She's trying to protect me.
Ralph, what are you saying?
I did it, I tell you. I ought to know. I had a better motive than she.
What motive?
I'll tell you that later.
I don't believe you killed him, Ralph. You're trying to protect your mother now because you know she did it.
I did it, I tell you. I did it.
Well, that's enough for me. I believe her. But we'll soon find out. We'll check the fingerprints on the knife.
That won't prove anything.
Why not?
Because I used the glove. Mother must have taken the knife from the body and hidden it, thinking that I'd slipped up.
That's just so much talk, and you're just shooting in the dark. Come on, Bill. Let's go back to town and do some checking.
But the only fingerprints on the knife were Mary's, and try as he might, Ralph could not convince them that he wasn't trying to shield his mother. Ralph realized finally that his mother was sure to be convicted, and as the day of the audit grew closer, he became frantic about the money he had to have. On the day his mother was sentenced to prison, he visited the attorney.
I thought I'd drop in and see about that policy Tom Bradford left for my mother. Quite a few things to be taken care of, you know.
Well, I'll tell you, Ralph. That policy would have been paid long ago, but there are certain technicalities in the state regarding insurance.
What's that?
We had to wait till the finish of the trial.
Well, why? She's a beneficiary. She's entitled to insurance.
Not here. If the beneficiary is convicted of killing the insured, the beneficiary cannot receive the proceeds of the policy. The same is true as to Tom's farms and other property.
What? What about me? I'm the son. There are no other heirs.
You were not the blood kid to Tom Bradford. and you were not legally adopted. Therefore, all the property and the insurance reverts to Tom's estate. Nothing we can do about it.
Well, Ralph, there you are, holding the bag. Now you've got to face the music at the bank. With all your scheming, nothing was gained. You planned to kill Tom and blame it on Miller. But instead, got your mother upset and she killed him because she wanted to keep you from doing it. That's what you believe, Ralph. But you're wrong. I know. Your mother didn't do it. She found the body and removed the knife thinking you'd slipped up. It was your dear little wife, Vera, who did it. And she'll never tell. But she'll pay for it later. I know.
CBS has presented The Whistler. Original music for this production was composed and conducted by Wilbur Hatch. The Whistler is written and directed by J. Donald Wilson and originates from Columbia Square in Hollywood.
I, the Whistler, will return to tell you another interesting tale. Good night.
This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
You're listening to HOJO Radio. More classic old-time radio coming your way next.
Wait a minute. Have you heard the strange tales of the Whistler?
I'm the Whistler.
You cops are going to be on the scene of a crime instead of coming in after it's all over. Tonight, I'm going to do a little exterminating.
Sunday night, and again CBS presents The Whistler.
I, the Whistler, know many things, for I walk by night. I know many strange tales, many secrets hidden in the hearts of men and women who have stepped into the shadows. And so I tell you tonight the story of the Double Cross. It is Christmas Eve in the big, lonely city of New York. Outside, the snow falls in huge floating flakes. Inside an apartment, young Joe Blake sits on the floor before a small Christmas tree with his 4-year-old nephew, Timmy. Joe's sister died 2 years ago, and for a while the child's father tried to look after Timmy. But being a detective lieutenant, the father, Steve, found it almost impossible. A year ago, young Joe had become involved with some hoodlums and would have gone to reform school but for Steve's intercession. Joe has kept out of trouble since then and has been living with Steve and taking care of the apartment and little Timmy.
When will Santa Claus come, Uncle Joe?
Well, I don't think he'll come until you go to sleep, Timmy.
How's he going to get in?
He comes down the chimney.
What chimney?
I never thought of that. Well, maybe he comes through the window.
They're all locked, Uncle Joe.
Well, I'll open one after you go to bed, kid. He'll get in. Don't worry about that.
Open the biggest one.
The biggest one? Why?
Well, I saw Santa Claus, and he's fat. And a pony is big, too.
Oh, I see. Well, I don't know about the pony, Timmy. Kind of scarce these days.
Huh?
Well, ponies are kind of extinct.
Well, I could keep my window open. No one would smell them.
Wouldn't you like to have a train just as well? If you don't get a pony, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Attaboy, Timmy. Well, you better go to bed now. It's after 11, and old Nick won't come unless he's sure you're asleep. How about it?
When is Daddy coming?
Oh, he'll be along soon. Come on, Timmy. You're going to turn in.
There we are. Tucked in fine. Night, Timmy.
Don't forget to open the window.
I won't. I'll open them all.
Police call's on the other end of the dial, Joe.
Huh? Oh, hello, Steve. I didn't hear you come in.
Let me help you.
I wasn't looking for the police call.
No?
I just put Timmy to bed.
Why so late?
Oh, he wanted to see Santa Claus. He's going to be kind of disappointed in the morning.
How so?
It's a pony.
Well, maybe you can buy him one, Joe.
Are you kidding?
No.
I don't get it. What's the matter with you, Steve? Something go wrong tonight?
Have you been here all evening?
Why, sure.
Haven't been out.
Don't I always stay with Timmy when you work late?
You didn't slip out for an hour or so while Timmy was asleep, huh?
Oh, why should I?
But you could have.
Sure I could, but I didn't.
Joe, when I got you out of that last scrape, I did it because I had a lot of faith in you. In your promises.
I still don't get it.
I was the one who got you that relief job in that department store. I vouched for you.
I know that. What about it?
Somebody opened the store's safe tonight. Somebody with slick fingers. Sensitive fingers like yours, Joe.
What? Why, I've been near the store since noon.
You sure?
Certainly, I'm not crazy. I've had my lesson.
I wish I could believe that.
I swear I haven't been out of this house. Why should you try to pin anything like this on me just because I'm working there during the holiday season?
I'm not trying to pin anything on you. Just has all the earmarks of your abilities to open a safe.
That's not fair, Steve. I'm through with that kind of stuff. I got plans. I'm going to make something useful of myself.
You're sure you weren't out of this place?
I swear I wasn't, Steve. I swear it.
Okay. I'll take a chance on it. I'm not on the case, but I heard about it. Now, look, they'll start checking on all the records of guys like you, and they'll probably drop around to see you tomorrow.
I didn't leave the house, Steve. I didn't.
Okay, but you got to have an alibi.
Well, Timmy was here.
Timmy's a baby. He won't count.
Oh, hello, Steve.
Why, evening, Captain. Come on in.
Yeah.
You know my brother-in-law, Joe.
Yeah, I remember him.
What can I do for you? Sit down. I was just ready to turn in, but sitting around reading for a couple of hours. Kind of drowsy.
Yeah? How long you been here, Steve?
Oh, I got off duty at 8. Been home since 8:30. Why?
How long has Joe been here?
Oh, he was here when I came in. He's been here all evening.
Hasn't been out?
Certainly not. What are you getting at, Captain?
Joe's been working mornings at Shelby's department store, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, their safe was open tonight around 9:30. They closed at 7:30. I thought we'd check up on the boys with sensitive fingers.
Joe? Why, he hasn't been out of the house. I'll swear to that.
You will?
Certainly I will. Joe's through with that kind of stuff.
Yeah? Well, then how would you explain this, Steve?
Why, where'd you get that cigarette case?
Wait a minute. Let's see that.
Sure. We found it beside the safe.
Joe, this is the case your sister gave you a year before last. They had your name engraved on it.
Yeah, but how did it get there? I've never been near the store safe.
No? Well, I suppose you just lost it somewhere.
When did you see that case last, Joe?
Oh, yeah. I had it this morning. As a matter of fact, I hadn't missed it.
Do you expect me to believe that, Steve?
No.
Do you expect me to believe that you were here all evening?
No. You dirty little rat. You did pull that job.
No, I swear I didn't, Steve. I swear it.
You know what this means, Steve? You haven't been here all evening. You're lying. You're trying to furnish an alibi for Joe. Do you know what that means?
Yes, I know what it means. Sneaking little crook, I believed in him. Get him out of here. Get him out before I break his neck.
Steve, please, listen.
There'll be a hearing about you, Steve, in the morning.
But Joe can't explain how his cigarette case happened to be near the safe. He remembers having lunch with a few of the old gang. Maybe it disappeared then. But nothing can be proved. So Joe is convicted and sent to prison for 2 years. Steve is discharged from the police force and goes into seclusion, his heart filled with bitter hatred for Joe. 2 years pass, and Joe is released, determined to make a success of his life regardless of his past. Steve has disappeared, but Joe meets Della Kenton, daughter of wealthy John Kenton. Della persuades her father to engage Joe as his secretary.
Guess who, darling?
Huh? Why, I can't imagine. But if I could, I'd guess it was Della.
Well, you guessed right.
Are you going to type all day, Joseph?
No, not all day, darling. I'll be through in a few minutes.
I've got a message for you. I knew you were busy, so I answered the phone. It was a man, thank heaven, and he said to tell you that he'd located your friend Steve.
What? Did you get the address?
Yes, darling, but don't get so excited. Here it is. 454 East 17th Street. That's certainly a dilapidated part of town. Whom do you know who lives there?
A fellow I used to know. I've been trying to locate him for 2 years. Well, it is a sort of a cheap locality, isn't it?
May I go with you?
Oh, darling, I'd rather you didn't. I won't be gone long.
Well, I hope not. And don't forget, Father is arriving on the midnight train, and he expects us to meet him.
Yeah, I remember. I'll be back soon.
All right, darling. I'll be ready.
So long, Della.
Just a moment. Haven't you forgotten something?
Have I? What?
Are you a married man?
Certainly not. That is, not yet.
Well, then don't act so much like one. Come back here and kiss me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Della, darling. I was so excited I forgot. Bye, dear.
That's better. Now you can go. Go on.
I won't be gone long.
I hope not, because I want to talk to you about Christmas.
Christmas?
Yes, we're going to give a Christmas party, and I want you to help me.
Yes, of course, darling. I won't be long. Timmy. Well. How are you, baby?
Huh? What do you want?
Why, Timmy, don't you remember me? It's your Uncle Joe. Oh, gee, it's good to see you.
Uncle Joe? Gee, Uncle Joe.
By golly, I've been looking for you and your dad ever since, well, for over a year. Where's your dad?
I don't know. Someplace, I guess.
Yeah? How long you been in this place?
Oh, a long time.
What's Steve doing?
I don't know.
It's almost Christmas again, Timmy. Remember that last Christmas when you wanted a pony? What would you like to have most this Christmas? Huh? How'd you like a bicycle or a pair of skates? Or... Hey, what's wrong, Timmy? Why you're crying?
I'd like to have a bicycle,
Say, what are you doing in bed at this time of the afternoon?
I couldn't ride a bicycle.
Timmy, what is it? Tell me, baby.
I don't know, Uncle Joe. I just can't walk.
When did this happen?
Last summer. First my foot wouldn't work, then my leg wouldn't work, and...
Oh, Timmy.
But I'll be all right pretty soon. As soon as Pop gets the money for the operation.
Of course you will, Timmy. You'll be all right in no time at all. Well, that must be Steve now. I'll close your door for a minute, Timmy. I want to talk to Steve.
You'll come back, Uncle Joe?
Yeah, I'll be back a lot now. Hello, Steve.
What are you doing here? Who let you in?
I walked in. Door was open.
Well, it's still open. Get out.
I've been looking for you ever since I got out.
What for?
I wanted to explain things. I'm sorry about what happened to you, Steve.
I don't want any explanations.
Hey, what's wrong with Timmy?
Are you going?
You look like you'd been drinking a lot, Steve.
So what?
You wouldn't be living in a place like this if you were working.
I'm getting by all right.
What about Timmy's operation? Can you take care of that?
I will.
Well, maybe I could help, Steve.
Well, you thieving little rat. I wouldn't take anything from you if Timmy and I both starved to death.
Don't be a fool, Steve. I haven't got anything, but I may be able to raise some money.
How? Open another safe? Now get out of here before I throw you out.
You're drunk, Steve.
I'm not drunk and I don't need you. Get out!
Okay, Steve. Okay, I'll go. But if you don't care about Timmy, I do.
Now, look, Timmy's got to be operated on within 30 days. It'll take $2,000, maybe more, and I'll get it. I won't steal it the way you would. And I'll get it. Now get out of here before I brain you.
So long, Steve. I'll be seeing you.
Dusk has descended as Joe leaves the cheap apartment and drives to the palatial estate of his fiancée, Della. He has decided to ask Della's father to lend him the $2,000. As he turns into the drive, a man steps out from beside the gate and stands before his car.
What do you want?
I want to talk to you, Joe.
Who are you?
Freddie Elsa. You remember me, Joe?
What do you want, Freddie?
Mike Slavich wants to have a little gab fest with you.
Mike Slavich? Where is he?
Turn out your lights and turn off your motor.
What are you doing here?
Mike will tell you.
Hiya, Joe. How you doing?
What are you doing around here, Mike?
Want to talk to you. Mind if I get in? You've been doing all right since you got out, haven't you, Joe?
Well enough.
I'll say. Living in this big joint, engaged to old man Kenton's daughter. That's what I call clamming. You're the old man's secretary, ain't you?
Yeah, get to the point.
Old man Kenton's got a safe in that house. It's
It's got a lot of rocks in it.
What about it?
We thought you might help us get them. You know the combination of the safe.
You're crazy. I wouldn't think of it.
We could change our mind. Couldn't we, Freddy?
Yeah, more ways than one.
Get out of this car.
You don't scare, eh, Joe?
No.
Well, we mean business. If that don't scare you, maybe something else will.
You think so?
We know a quiet little spot. And no one would find you for weeks. If ever.
Well, a real gun. Shoulder holster and everything. We've come a long way since we were kids, Mike. Started out with cap pistols, and now the real thing.
Yep. All you do is squeeze it. It squirts lead instead of water.
How far do you think you'd get if you did squeeze it?
We've never been pinched yet. No record. No fingerprints. No nothing.
First time for everything, huh? Cigarette, Mike?
Yeah. Thanks, Joe. Oh. Get a load of a cigarette case, Freddie. Joseph from Della. Fancy stuff. Well, how about it, Joe?
Well, looks like I'm stuck. I think you guys mean business. What's your plan?
Old man Kenton's out of town. We walk in with you, you open the safe, take the rocks, and we all leave.
All leave?
We'll take you with us. We'll hide out for a day or so until they start looking for you. You'll be accused, you know.
Now, wait a minute.
Come on, get going, Joe. Out of that car and up the drive. Open it up, Joe. Quit stalling.
Okay. It's open.
Hand me the stuff.
There you are.
Thanks. Now, let's go.
Joseph, are you in the library?
Get out there and talk to her. Tell her you're leaving town for a few days. No monkey business. We'll be watching.
Yes, Della. I'll be right out.
Oh, where have you been, darling? We've got to meet that train.
Well, Della, I was... I'm sorry, but you'll have to meet your father alone. I got to run out of town tonight on business. I'll be back in a few days.
What? Well, when did this come up?
Just a few minutes ago. I'm going to drive.
Well, all right, darling, if you must. Will you be back in time for the Christmas party?
I hope so, Della.
Well, I'd better get to the station. The train will be in a few minutes.
Yeah. Goodbye, dear.
Goodbye, and take care of yourself, Joseph.
I'll try, darling.
As soon as she gets out the drive, we'll leave. You take my car, Freddie. I'll drive with Joe. Come on.
Now, 2 days later, the story of the jewel theft breaks in the newspapers. Joe Blake is suspected, and old man Kenton is offered a reward for the recovery of the stones and apprehension of Joe.
Gee, Mike, he's offering $10,000 for the recovery of the rocks and $2,500 for the capture of Joe.
I see. Well, we'll lay low for a few more days, then skip to Chicago and unload this stuff.
Why do that? You got a better deal right here in town.
How do you mean, Joe?
You'd make a lot more by collecting this reward than you would from a fence out of town.
You mean we go back to Kenton and hand over the stuff?
Why not?
Not a bad idea. We'd have to take you with us and turn you in.
Well, certainly. You'd have to do that to prove how you found the jewels.
What's your plan?
Oh, look. You guys are a couple of private detectives, and you read about the reward, see? You just happened to spot me and grab me. Brought me back to Kenton. You turn over the stuff, and he pays off. I'll make a break for the door. Got to take a few shots at me to make it look real, but you shoot wild. I get away. Then later on, when the coast is clear, I'll drop around. That leaves you in the clear, and I don't get locked up.
I think it's a nutty idea. What if it don't work?
Shut up. That ain't a bad idea, Joe. I'll take you up on that. So, Mr. Kenton, me and my partner read about the theft and saw this guy's picture and happened to spot him in this lunchroom, so we nabbed him. Well, here he is, and there's all your jewelry.
Yes, this is all here, every bit of it. Check it over, Della. See if your jewels are all there.
Yes, Father. Nothing of mine is missing.
Very well. I suppose you want the reward?
Well, after all...
I'll give you this check for $10,000 now for the return of the stones, and I'll withhold the $2,500 until he is booked by the police and locked up.
Well, okay, but we captured him. What more do you want?
I prefer it that way. I want to be sure that he's locked up, and if he gets out in 20 years, it'll be too soon for me. You certainly pulled the wool over my eyes. And when I think that Della might have married you, an ex-convict,
Can't always judge a book by its cover.
It doesn't seem possible I could have been such an utter fool.
You got a lot of things to learn, Della.
The sooner you get him out of here, the better.
Well, here's your check, and
Come
when...
on, Della.
He's getting away!
Come back here.
Why, he's locked it from the other side.
He won't get far. I must have hit him.
Call the police.
Never mind. We'll get him. That $2,500 belongs to us. Come on, Freddie, out this window. He won't get far.
You think you hit him, really?
No, I missed him deliberately. Shot high. Now that I think about it, I'm just a sap. That was our chance to get rid of him. So illegally. He knows too much. I don't trust him.
But we ain't really cops.
So what? Any citizen's got a right to catch a fugitive. Come on, we're going to get that baby.
Joe makes a getaway and heads for a little hotel where he hides out for another day. Then the papers break with another story, and Kenton has increased the reward for Joe's capture. Joe studies this over for a while and realizes the possibility of Mike's double-crossing him for the additional reward. He slips out for a while, then returns to his room around 8 in the evening.
Who is it?
Open up or I'll kick it down.
Steve.
Well, so here you are, the rat himself.
What do you want, Steve?
What do you think?
Are you back on the force, Steve?
I will be when I get through with you. Because of you, I got kicked out. And now you're the one who's going to set me back in harness again. Funny how things work out.
Oh, you know about the reward, do you?
Yeah, I do. Once a crook, always a crook. I knew you'd pull something sooner or later.
How's Timmy?
He's just going to be fine in a few days.
What do you mean?
He can have that operation now.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that.
You're not half as glad as I am. And the thing that pleases me most is the way I'm getting the dough. Boy, this rap is going to send you away for 20 years.
So what?
Get your hat and start walking. And don't try that fade-out stuff on me, because I like you so much, I'd as soon plug you as look at you. Thanks, Mr. Kenton. Thanks very much. I wouldn't have come out so soon, but, well, this money is a lifesaver.
How's that, Bradley?
My kid, Timmy's got to have an operation, and I didn't have a cent. Has to be done in a few days, or he won't live. Check's a real Christmas present.
Mr. Bradley, what do you think they will do with Joseph?
Oh, he'll get 20 years. Two-time loser.
What a shame.
I had a lot of faith in that boy. So did Della. I just can't understand it.
There's been some others who thought that way.
Well, what did he have to gain? He was engaged to Della, and he could have had everything. And he was very stupid to do what he did.
What do you mean?
Well, he took a chance on his life when he escaped from this room. He knew those two men had guns. Good thing for him that the big fella couldn't shoot straight.
They fired at him?
The big man did, as he went right through that door.
Look up above the door. All 3 shots near the ceiling.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. You know, I'd say there was either very good shooting or he had a gun that kicked like a mule.
It wasn't a big gun. Snub-nosed revolver.
Snub-nosed? Not a service pistol?
No, I'm sure it wasn't.
I may drop in on you in a few days, Mr. Kenton.
Certainly, Bradley. Anytime.
I want to ask you a few questions, Joe.
Did you collect the reward?
I did last night.
How's Timmy?
He went to the hospital this morning.
Oh, that's swell. Gee, I'm glad. Well, what do you want to know?
He didn't pull his job alone, Joe.
How did you arrive at that conclusion?
Who were those guys who captured you?
Said they were private detectives.
One of them was a swell shot. He placed every slug in the same spot, above the door, deliberately. They were in this with you, gagged to cop the reward that was sure to be offered. Otherwise, they'd have popped you in the doorway, you were to get away, and then all meet later and share the proceeds.
Yeah?
But in the meantime, they changed their minds, Joe, and decided to cut you out. They double-crossed you.
What do you mean?
How do you suppose I knew where you were hiding? A guy phoned me and tipped me off. They figured they had no police record. Nothing you could say would implicate him. They're safe. Why attempt to shield a double-crosser?
That's just what I figured those rats would do.
You might as well spill it, Joe. I'm determined to crack this case.
Yeah? What would happen if you cracked this one and another one besides? Set you up as a lieutenant again, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. I was forced to open that safe at the point of a gun.
Tell me another one, Joe.
If you want to grab the other 2 guys, I'll make a deal with you.
A deal?
Let me talk to your fingerprint expert and get me out of this cell.
Are you kidding?
I want you to take me to old man Kenton's. There's a Christmas Eve party going on there tonight.
I wouldn't trust you across the hall.
It means just as much to you as it does to me, and probably more. I'll guarantee results.
Okay. What's your plan?
I'll tell you on the way out to the Kenton place.
All right. Hey, Sergeant, let us out of here.
Come with me, gentlemen. Father's waiting for you in the library.
Looks like you're going to have quite a party here tonight, Miss Kenton.
It sure does.
Here are the two detectives, Father.
Oh, yes. Come in, gentlemen. Come in. Close the door, Della. I sent for you men because you did a good job of capturing Joe Blake and returning the jewels.
Yeah?
I'm having quite a number of guests here tonight, and I've just received some disturbing news. Joe Blake has escaped.
Escaped?
Holy mackerel.
He may make another try to steal the jewels while we are occupied with our guests.
Oh, I see. You want us to see that nothing happened.
I want you fellas to stay here near the safe, and if he does come, grab him.
Sure. You won't have a thing to worry about.
Good. Come along, Della. Our guests are beginning to arrive.
All right, everybody, don't make a move.
Father!
Joe! Lay your guns on the desk, boys. Thanks. Get over the other side of the room, Della. You too, Kenton. Things might happen.
What's on your mind, Joe?
Spread your hands flat on that desktop, Mike. You too, Freddie, and keep them there. Make one move and I'll drill you both, you dirty double-crossing rats. Forced me to open the safe at the point of a gun and tipped off the cops where to find me. Because you were afraid I might horn in on the reward.
This guy must be nuts, Mr. Kenton.
Which one of you phoned Steve Bradley? Come on.
Well, I didn't, Joe. I thought you was going to contact
Shut
us.
up, you little dope.
Yeah, but he's mad, Mike. I don't want him to think I tipped the cops.
Shut up.
You did it, Freddie. You're the one.
No, honest, Joe, I didn't. I didn't. Please, Joe.
Open that safe, Kenton. I'm really taking those jewels this time. But I won't be bothered by Mike and Freddie.
Joe, I didn't do it, honest.
I'm going to place one right between your eyes, Freddie. Right between your eyes.
Joe!
He's bluffing.
Don't anybody move. I'll open the door.
Hello, Mr. Kenton.
Hello, Bradley.
We traced Joe Blake to the edge of your estate. I thought we'd better look in for...
Just in time, Steve. Put up your hands and step into the room.
What goes on here?
The cops are going to be in on the scene of the crime instead of coming in after the crime's over. I'm going to take some jewels and do a little exterminating. But first, I'm going to make these guys do a little talking. I want to know which one of you guys tipped off Steve about me. Say something, Mike.
This guy's crazy. Says we made him steal the stuff.
That the voice you heard on the phone, Steve?
No.
What have you got to say, Freddie?
It wasn't me. I tell you, it wasn't.
It must be him.
Yeah, it certainly sounds like him.
I thought so. Right between the eyes, Freddie.
Please, Joe, don't.
He won't shoot.
Hand over that gun, Joe. Give it to me.
Oh! Hey, he did it. I told you he meant it.
You're crazy, Joe. You're crazy.
I killed a cop, so why should I worry about killing a couple of rats like you? Start talking, Mike. Tell him you guys forced me to open that safe.
You can't bluff me. There's no proof of such a thing.
No? All right, Sergeant. Check Mike's fingerprints on the glass-top desk. Step on it.
Yeah, sure.
Mr. Kenton, look in the second drawer of the safe. You'll find my cigarette case wrapped in a handkerchief.
What? By George, he's right.
I put it there the night I opened the safe. Let the sergeant compare the prints with the ones on the desktop. I've been near that safe since the night the stones disappeared.
What are you trying to pull, Joe?
You have no police record, Mike. I didn't want you to go through life like that, so I fixed one up for you. Remember the night you forced me into this? I offered you a cigarette? Well, you got a record now, Mike.
Well, Mike's prints on the desk check with the ones in the cigarette case.
And how about that photo of prints you found on that safe I was supposed to have opened several years ago? You brought them along?
Say, why, they're all the same. They all check.
Now you guys start talking. Go on, tell it all.
I'll tell nothing. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right between the eyes, Freddie. Right between the eyes.
Tell him, Mike. Tell him he means it.
I'll tell him nothing.
Joe!
Well, that finishes Freddie. Are you ready to talk, Mike?
Yeah, I'll talk, Joe. I'll talk.
You robbed that department store. You planted my cigarette case there. You copped it at the lunchroom, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right.
I had nothing to do with that job. And you did force me to open this safe, didn't you? My cigarette case proves that.
Yeah, that's right. I'll admit it. You're innocent, Joe.
All right. There you are, Steve. You can get up now.
Yeah, very nicely handled, Joe.
Hey, I thought you was... I've been framed!
Pour some water on Freddie. Joe was using blanks.
Hey, Joe. Joe, I'll tell everything.
Nothing more to tell, Freddie. It's all been told.
Well, that certainly leaves you in the clear, Joe. And, Joe, I want to apologize for everything.
Okay, Lieutenant. Apologies accepted.
Merry Christmas, Joe.
Same to you, Steve. And tell Timmy that Della and I will be down to see him in the morning.
Well, there you are. Everything worked out very nicely, just as everything should, but seldom does. But there's something I should explain about the person who tipped Steve off as to where to find Joe. It wasn't Mike, and it wasn't Freddie. No, it was Joe himself. It was Joe who phoned Steve, knowing it would give Steve an impetus, a new start in his career of sleuthing. And it really worked. And it saved Timmy's life, and Joe's too, for that matter.
CBS has presented The Whistler. Original music for this production was composed and conducted by Wilbur Hatch. The Whistler is written and directed by J. Donald Wilson and originates from Columbia Square in Hollywood. Next week at 9:30...
I, the Whistler, will return to tell you another unusual tale. Good night.
This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Thank you for listening to HOJO Radio. We'll be back again very soon.